Welcome to the Young and Pruitt podcast. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by youngandpruitt.com, the website that is bringing you this podcast currently. David is at the beach right now playing Lieutenant Dan, watching the Hurricanes come in. So Zack Hayes didn't get enough, so he's back for round two, and Brittany's joining us today.
Hey, everyone.
Also. What do you think about these Hurricanes, man?
I think this podcast just got better with Brittany instead of David.
So sweet.
It did get a lot better looking for sure.
Right. You don't have to have any updates. We were laughing at the NFL update on his fantasy football. That was what was going on last week with David.
Oh yeah, it was
Important
funny
stuff.
Yeah, now he's out there storm watching.
Yeah,
on the beach,
dodging hurricanes.
That's
crazy.
He's good with it. He's like, he's good with it.
Oh yeah, he's chill as can be. It's a big storm.
That is a big storm. I saw on Instagram there was I think a stop motion. I actually think I sent it to you of from ISS.
You might have sent it. I just didn't see it.
But it's basically a time lapse of this. The space station going over this thing, taking it from there, and it's the space station. It's big, or as far as what it sees. So it was interesting. I'm sure David's doing just fine down there. Yeah.
I mean, it's the craziest thing. That storm is huge. I mean, we have tornadoes where I'm from, but you don't get a warning with those.
So so tornadoes in Indiana, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Is it as bad as Kansas?
The county that I'm in and the surrounding counties in southern Indiana are actually in Tornado Alley.
Okay, so you're going to get them.
Yeah, we get them. We don't get them on the frequent, but we still get them enough to qualify to be into the alley.
So Indianapolis is generally in that area too, I guess. No. Okay, so
I'm an hour and 45 minutes away from Indy.
So 150 miles makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. So basically, the landscape kind of looks like this,
right?
And then right by my mom's house, you go down a hill,
right?
And it's just like a one-sided hill. Like you go up, it's just like a bank, basically. And then once you drop down off that bank, you can see it's completely flat. And the town of Vincennes is 10 miles away, and you can see it. It's completely flat. Just looks like a table.
Right.
And then that's where the Great Prairie starts.
Is it dark brown soil?
Sand and dark brown. But it's only dark brown around the rivers. When you get away from that, it's sand just like on the beach.
Right.
One of the guys on the team was actually at St. Martin over the off week, and now that's completely gone. Basically, they just got hit today. We were watching the video, and he was down there, 2 weeks ago was that?
I think so.
And then now they're at 185 mile an hour sustained winds.
That's serious.
Like, where do you?
I've been in the. I don't know, man. I've the most I've ever what was it, a Fran? We lived in Atlantic Beach and we stayed there during Fran, and it was, you sort of wish you would have stayed until day 2. And then you're like, yeah, I wish I'd have gone to Raleigh or something like that, because, it was just me and my wife and a buddy of mine. And, it's like you can drink 2 cases of beer relatively quick and between, 2 or 3 people, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah, the one thing that all the locals talk about is Hurricane Hugo.
Yes.
And they talk about how they were out of power for 2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks.
And so the one thing that they remember the most is all the barbecues that people were having, because they didn't have any power.
Right.
So they just had their grills.
Yeah.
And your food was going to go bad, so you had to cook it.
Right.
So then all the neighborhoods was just
cool.
It was just a big,
it was actually cool,
massive cookout.
Right. So we had a football game Thursday night. And so I played varsity, so that would have been Friday. So we knew we weren't playing so Thursday night it was, I put it this way, we ended up getting in trouble. But luckily we got in trouble on a week where we knew, okay, we're about to have 3 weeks of nothing after this thing hits. Because they already knew, they knew even when it hit Charleston that it was going to pound Charlotte. Because it affected the mountains.
Really?
Yeah, big time, Blowing Rock and stuff. Because they had the wind direct, obviously dynamically that area, it's one thing to get 45 mile an hour sustained winds. When you it's still 100 and something mile an hour. Yeah, I put it this way. Our front yard, we lived on 13 acres, right as sort of waterfront. It was all woods. Mm-hmm. You could even see down to the lake. And we woke up the next morning, and I opened up the window. You couldn't see. It was just like, typical hurricane. It was, the deal. And I looked out and I was like, I think I can see the lake. And my brother was like, no. I was like, I think I can see the lake, and I think there's a boat in our yard. And sure enough, all these trees were like flattened, like not even like they were laid down, like where the wind had just been honking up on this little bay area. It's probably 100 yards wide, but it came off the main channel. And sure enough, there was a sailboat like 50 feet up on our dry it was like, wow, because it was like it must have been somewhat of a storm surge on Lake Norman from the wind itself, just blowing and blowing. I put it this way: I thought at one point it was going to blow all the windows out of the house because the water was hitting it so hard. Wow. But you got to realize this was Zack Hayes when I was like 17. It was time to rock and roll. I mean, I was up. It was fun. Mm-hmm. I remember my dad walked up to me the next morning, and he'd already been out like early. It was still like horrible. And he had, obviously gotten on the phone with the guy that owned like the power, tools place. And he bought 2 brand new, super compression release Husqvarna, real deal working chainsaws. And, of course, me and my brother, that was like handing guns to it. We were into chainsaws, because we split a lot of wood anyways because we heat it. Our house was all wood heat growing up. And, it was awesome. We split wood. We cleaned our place up in about 2 days, and finally my dad had a bulldozer. Mm-hmm. He was like, this is beyond chainsaws. So we ended up just making it. So meanwhile, we instantly went throughout the neighborhood all the way around where we lived, and man, we chopped trees and drug limbs, and we made a fortune in 3 weeks.
It's crazy. Looking at the path of the storm of Hugo and what these new tentative paths could be very similar with it hitting South Carolina. And it actually picked up and went to a category 4. So like how they're saying like it's a 5 now, it'll be 4, 3. Well, that one picked up, was a 5, went to a 3, and then because it gained extra right outside of the coast, hit at a 4.
It hit it, so it was a 3, then picked back up.
Yeah, and that's what they're saying. If it follows along that Florida coastline and stays in the water, that's when it's not going to break up and die down. So it's scary for everybody.
Well, I always wonder how optimistic people are after a situation like Houston. I wonder if they're like, okay, the media. The media is like, if it comes to politics or anything else like that, they're just like, they can't give them enough. But like real stuff like that, I wonder if they can't take it. So like, okay, let's be open-minded and positive about this one because it may wipe out Florida, or you just never know with the Gulf. With the the East Coast,
right? Like how Matthew ended up. It was like really scary last year. That was going to come out, and then it just skid right past. So, the ocean, the weather patterns, crazy, and we can make all these what they call them spaghetti graphs or something. Yeah, we don't really know.
I like the one that's just completely full. You can't even see the Gulf, and it says the potential pass of Irma. They're just everywhere.
Yeah, I see one where they did put like actual spaghetti noodles on a stamp on the map. I was like, it seems about right.
Hit somewhere in the southeastern United States.
Yeah, somewhere.
Don't
anywhere
think
from Texas to Maine. Yeah. Somewhere there, and then end up.
That's also the first time that that I've actually seen one form in the Gulf of Mexico. I don't remember seeing one form down there. That tropical storm Katia or Kata or whatever it is. That one just formed like off the shore of Cancun.
Oh yeah,
and
it's a weird location for him for it to like all of a sudden just make itself. And not come from like where Irma came from, further out into the Atlantic.
Do I have to talk about HARP? Do you have to ask about HARP? HARP.
Go ahead.
No. I was just, okay. So when it comes down to it, like I've got a friend of mine it's her brother has worked for HARP for like the past, since I've known her. Like in college, we knew her and her brother worked for HARP. And he would send, like here recently, still on his page, he'll send pictures, of these stations, they're crazy elaborate. Like, it's not like a little time thing. Mm-hmm. You know, whatever's involved in it out in the ocean where he works, it's unbelievable. It really is. It's, you know, and I don't know if that's even a real possibility. You know, when you hear these conspiracy people, even chemtrails and stuff, it's like, you know, all that stuff's hard to believe. But man, I wonder if there's something to it because, you know, they know in World War II they did that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the silver oxide or silver dioxide or whatever it is, they can sprinkle this silver dioxide stuff up in the atmosphere and it'll make it rain.
Right.
And then there was that video of Jeremy Clarkson was next to that big cloud machine.
Oh, really?
Did you see that one? It's just a clip. I guess it's on Top Gear, but he's standing next to this giant machine, and he's probably, I don't know, eighth of a mile, quarter mile away from it, and he has headphones on. And he said it's the loudest thing that he's ever heard, and it's just bellowing out water vapor.
Right.
And he goes, and it makes a cloud, and he goes, here in 5 minutes it's going to be raining. And sure enough, in 5 minutes it was raining.
Really?
Yeah.
I hate that kind of stuff. I hate any kind of conspiracy, all that stuff, like HARP, any of that stuff. I think about it, but it still sucks.
Well, see, the problem with conspiracy theories is some of them are true.
Right.
So that gives legs to any and every possible outcome or possibility or what if. It gives it kind of like some credibility.
Right.
You know?
The only thing about the only thing credible that I've heard to be like against the whole chemtrail side of things as far as is like, I didn't realize, you know, for instance, I think we talked, my father-in-law was saying how the amount of volume of material, whatever it is, well, you know, you wouldn't be able to put enough of it on an airplane and put airplanes up enough over a period of time in 50 years to make a dent in it. He says it's the same thing as emissions. He was like, if you think your car exhaust is doing anything to the world as far as real nasty hurting it, you're joking yourself. He was like, you know, all these open volcanoes are just, I mean.
Well, they say that we've added like a couple parts per million of carbon into the atmosphere.
That we speculate because we have only been doing this in a modern manner for the past 30 years.
And we've only been keeping track of it for...
That's like the temperature debate. I didn't even think about this. And then talking about actually really accurately measuring temperature throughout the globe, you know, that's only been going on for 50 years.
Yeah, but they can go back in the core samples and get the air bubbles and all that. And
yes.
Kind of an idea about
where it was.
Yeah, where it was with the greenhouse gases. But even then,
right,
you don't know.
It's just hard to believe to me that humans are that awesome to where you can put them on a globe for a couple thou a year, and next thing you know, they've ruined the place. And you'd think it spit us off just like everything else.
Yeah.
That's probably what's going to happen.
We've added so many parts per million of carbon into the atmosphere.
Right.
We've still done something.
Sure.
So when someone says that we're contributing to global warming, the answer is yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What we don't know is the extent. Yeah. You know, I mean, they could have Yellowstone blow here, and then, you know, like that's one volcano can put out more than we ever have.
I really didn't know that for the longest time. And then I read an article about emissions, and they were just saying how carbon's so hard to really accurately pinpoint anything with it because it's such the same thing. I didn't like even carbon dating. You know, they were saying that that's even actually, you know, questionable.
Yeah, and if the carbon that you're around is around something else that's radioactive, it'll affect it. So, like if you go to like a nuclear test site or whatever, the carbon dating doesn't work.
Sure.
Because it's more radioactive than what it was before because of the nuclear explosion. Which, speaking of a nuclear explosion, North Korea just set that one off in that mountain. They were saying, they said that mountain's going to collapse.
Yeah, they said it's on fire because you know it's sort of like made its own little core. I didn't realize that you could have that problem with any kind of. I put it this way, you know, when you had like the whole Manhattan Project, you know, you got to think the brightest minds in America were involved in making these detonations or explosions. And they started really small to start with, and I didn't know that. And they started their explosions started in a little room, in a little test room, and doing little tiny explosions. And then they got that under control. But these guys are just like, I think it's like, it would be like me with enough skills to, see, it's definitely not going to go good if they keep on toying around with it for their own well-being.
There's a video on YouTube. It's like a video timeline of all the nuclear explosions that went off that we know about.
Right.
And like the test, it's in the thousands of times that they did it. So if you're talking about putting something that's the temperature of the sun,
right,
and you're setting this off, that's going to heat up the planet.
Sure.
Because
you're just reacting.
Yeah. So, and it's also, what's it doing to the atmosphere?
Right.
Because that stuff goes all the way up to the,
right.
What's it doing there?
Well, and what's funny, environmental stuff, and it's sort of sensitive to everybody because we all live here. That's the part I'm always in tune to it because, as much as I'm not really a fan of the run around and preach it because it needs to be preached. But I mean, when it comes to my own land that we go to and hunt at, and we're extreme conservationists.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when it comes to, throw a beer can down on, we're picking up beer cans the whole way, and we're, making sure that we don't get anything in our stream because we want to go trout fishing there. We don't want any deer to die. Matter of fact, we plant, or at least my buddies that go up there and do most of the hunting, they're constantly planning and, they're and what's funny is like, these are the same dudes that are rolling around with like, loud cars and trucks and, and
rolling coal.
One side of the deal is really ugly. Another side, it's like, wow, they're actually making a big dent in an issue. Nice thing is up there, where we are, the county and the state constantly monitors the silt levels in all the streams up there, which is sort of something I don't know if you all have to deal with. And up there they could sort of red clay base.
That's big where I'm from.
Big. Okay, yeah,
but it's all.
Oh, that's right, the sand and
it's all farms and the irrigation. Everything washes down. Yeah.
So that's one good thing about up in the North Carolina mountains, and actually where we have our spot is right on the headwaters of the Yadkin, and there's a couple creeks that feed into that, and one of them happens to just run through the middle of the property, and it's really nice because, you're not going to go dump it. It's sort of funny. Like, you really are not going to go dump any chemicals in that. It's not going to be far before they come up. They'll any kind of fish kill is always, they're on top of it. But, I'm big into the environment. It's just, it's hard to buy all of it, everything you hear,
we're affecting.
There's
what's happening.
There's a lot of politics involved, and anytime that you can get us versus them or me versus you,
right?
Even just the fact that we're saying the stuff that we're saying, the people that are on the other side are automatically against us, even though we have a pretty open mind, like the most open mind that you can be about it. We're not against it or for it, or we're just saying that we don't know and we're just trying to figure this out.
Right. No knee-jerk reactions from me.
Yeah, we're automatically on the global warming deniers list.
Actually, that was done on how you voted. They've already made all that up. They basically, if you did not vote for the Democrat, you basically are a lot of things. Okay,
that's the same thing. It's that us versus them. Yeah. And even if you question, even if you're just trying to learn about it, if you have Donald Trump's book here because you want to know how he thinks or whatever, and you're just trying to learn about it, the fact that you have the book, they're like, oh my God, you're a Trump supporter, yada yada yada.
But people, I don't think people sometimes even understand what's going on in that particular office and the whole system. It's like, and I was sort of hoping that Trump was going to go in there and do a little bit more of do your job, because politicians really don't do their jobs. Like, they'll sit there and like sort of just like cross their arms and not ever fix a problem ever. And then they almost stand for that so they can keep their argument going. God forbid anybody, get along in those situations. That's what it's the whole thing.
Because
ridiculous.
It's that
the whole thing's ridiculous.
Right.
Because it's that two-party system. It's that us versus them. You know, I mean, you can run as another party, but they stack the deck against you, and they make it almost impossible for you to run against it.
Sure.
You know, so as a libertarian or as a Green Party or whatever, there's certain guidelines you have to be in that
Right.
that it would have to take someone like a Donald Trump running independent that could pull that many people. You know, it's a popularity contest, and then you have to have a popular person run.
Sure.
You know, that's popular outside of it, not just for being a career politician.
Yes. It's like in high school. I think what they always promised they were gonna put a vending machine in the lunchroom, or you know, we're gonna put a soda machine in the hallway.
My vote.
Yeah. And she was already, you know, they were already the more popular person in the school already. Mm-hmm. It was sort of wrapped up.
Did you ever run for
No.
class office? Did you?
Yes.
What position did you run for?
What year was it?
Oh, so you held an
I
office.
did throughout middle and high school. I did a little bit of everything. But by my senior year, I was president of our Interact Club, which was like the Rotary Club was our point people, if you will. Mm-hmm. I forget who Key Club was. Is that Kiwanis?
Yeah.
Partner with outside of?
I think so.
Well, Interact Club was with Rotary. So community service and stuff. And which year we just stuck with that and didn't do senior year class office. Too much going on.
I started the chess club in my high
You're
school.
awesome.
I brought it back.
Really?
Yeah.
God.
I'm a motherfucker at chess.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not. I can't even know how to play the game.
You'd be perfect for it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I hate games.
It's not
This
a
is
game. It's not a game.
Is it-
It's its
oh,
own
really?
thing.
It's a
Yeah.
thinking.
It's its own
Okay.
thing.
I put it this way. I was at the barber shop there in Davidson, and the dudes were talking about chess, and they all get down with chess. They were arguing about some technical stuff, using some number terminology, which I guess that means they know what they're talking
Yeah,
about.
all of the places have their own coordinate.
Okay.
So you have letters and numbers.
Yeah.
So this square
Yeah.
is this one and that square is that one. And basically, once you, what was it, Finding Bobby Fischer or whatever?
Right.
Yeah.
They were sitting there talking to each other, and they were talking in the coordinates. They weren't even playing on a board.
Right.
They're like, okay, so if I move to F4, what would you do? And then he knows exactly where that's at. When it comes to chess, you have to think moves ahead. And what that means is, if I move here, what are you going to do?
Yeah, man, that's where.
And then
ahead.
You're more
thinking. Is hard for me.
You're more than likely to do this. So once you do that, then I'm going to do this.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you're both just sitting there, just staring at the board, and you're thinking 3-4 moves ahead.
So it's like life, similar to life.
Yeah,
Not the game life, but real life.
For
yeah.
real.
It's
Let's
so
play the
I
game
would
of
always
life.
plan-
suck at that game. I would suck at that game so bad. You know
All of a sudden
why?
you have 5 babies in a car
Yeah.
that doesn't fit them all. It's
That's
ridiculous.
right. And not a damn piece on the board.
You lost 3
bunch
jobs.
of bills stuffed under the corner of the chessboard.
I think we need to play
know.
that.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it.
I know.
We've been playing
That's fun.
Game of Thrones Risk.
Yeah.
Y'all are like Game of Thrones. Do y'all role play outside? Y'all go to the Comic-Con thing and stuff?
Not,
We may start.
We may start. We're not
That
to that
sounds
point
fun.
yet. We got the Ren Fest coming up here soon. That we're
Yeah.
probably going
Watch
to do.
out, world.
That's
Here we
down
come.
the street from my house.
Oh, is that where you live? I thought you
Yeah,
lived down
right.
at Charles Ford.
No, not anymore. I live right there, Bradford store. Right there's a little health food store right there on the corner, right before you get to the Renaissance Festival up 73. If you're coming from Burkdale or whatever, and you go down 73, there's an old store right on the right that's fish and fresh fish,
and then
shrimp.
there's that lawn ornament place right across the street.
I live. You turn at the lawn ornament place. I live behind the lawn ornament shop.
Perf. Now everybody knows
It's
where to
basically
find him.
you go to the 12-foot tall chicken and take a left or a right. You can see the chicken from both directions. It's a big used sheet metal chicken.
So
I've been thinking about stealing. Should I say that? It doesn't matter. I've been thinking about borrowing and just decorating people's yards on Saturday night. Just get me and the kids, the neighborhood kids, and just go decorate somebody's yard every different Saturday night. Just load it up. Because they're really big on my neighborhood about I put some antique fence out that my dad had given me, some old fence. And it wasn't up there 2 days. And I got a letter from the HOA. They're like,
Oh, the HOAs. Gotta love
don't
them.
express any of your personal... Nothing. Please, be very sterile. Very cookie cutter, please. We want everything
Didn't run
to
that
look
by us.
identical.
Sorry.
So why is the Renfest here? That seems like something that's been there for a while.
I don't know. It's weird. I've never been there. I've never been to it ever.
Have you ever
What?
been?
No.
Dude, you gotta go. You
Even
gotta
if
go.
you just want to eat, just go
Oh, the
there.
food.
I know. I love
The
anything
food's
like
amazing.
that. Oh, I mean,
but you go
all
there
that.
and they got the jousting and the
I
whole
love that kind of stuff.
the whole full
Oh,
thing.
I'm all for it. I just haven't been.
See, we have the Vincent's Rendezvous in.
Is that similar?
It's
It's the Yankee version.
No, it's the American Revolution. See,
That's even cooler.
Yeah, see where I was at.
That's racist now.
There was
That's
Fort
absolutely
Sackville. If you
racist.
look on this map that I have behind me here,
I see that.
you will see Fort Sackville, which is right here in Vincennes.
Sackville.
Sackville. George Rogers Clark came out of Virginia or West Virginia, got in with the Kentucky militia, marched through Kaskaskia, which is in southern Illinois, and then marched across there in February. When in February and March it floods,
Right.
So it's all flooded. So they marched through all the flooded plain,
Right.
and took out Fort Sackville. That was the capital of the Northwest Territory, which was Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Ohio.
Right.
So my hometown used to be the capital, and then that's where General Hamilton of the British was at.
Right.
So they do this Vincent's Rendezvous, which they do like the reenactments
Right.
of the redcoats and the Indians
Sure.
and on all that. And they do the whole deal, just like they do down here with the Civil War stuff.
Right. You know the Hornets Nest Park. Okay, so you know where the dam is, where you cross over the lake and the dam. So that's called Beatty's Ford.
Yeah.
So Beatty's Ford was actually really a ford where you'd cross the river when that was a river. And right down below there, all the way to Hornets Nest Park, where the that BMX track is that was the Battle of the Hornets Nest, and that was like where, you know, they fought at Kings Mountain, and this was all revolutionary. And then they went from like Cornwallis came up through Charleston, you know, and I wish, and you know, I don't know enough about exact names of those people, but
Cornwallis was the one from the Patriot.
yeah, okay, so that was the movie The Patriot.
Yeah, he was the mean
the
one.
Patriot was about that, about our part of the Revolutionary War,
Really?
because that whole all was fought. It was part of there was the Over the Mountain Boys that were from
I've heard that.
Tennessee, Greenville, South Carolina, basically the Blue Ridge Mountains north of Charlotte, Greenville, Atlanta, you know, the Virginia Highlands and all that stuff. And they were nasty. Supposedly they were like real nasty, and they basically sharpshooters, and they also funded the whole thing with white liquor the whole way. Anytime they needed money, they would stop them and sell white liquor and get money. And it wasn't like the whole place. I didn't really realize that about like the Revolutionary War. It was a skirmish filled war.
Oh yeah.
It was very small, you know, dozens of people fighting at a time. Nothing.
But that's how we won, because we
Right.
did the hide behind the tree and the rock. We didn't just stand in a line.
Right.
You know, like they
God, that
did.
must have been fresh. Yeah, that's just so America. That's America. You know what? It is.
But
I
you
love.
didn't-
That's why I like Donald
You didn't
Trump.
stand a chance against them.
That's why I love America. I love that part of America. I like a bunch of frat boys standing in front of a frat house and they're all wearing like, you know, American flag shorts that
Shorts.
are way too short. Just the whole thing looks hideous. You wouldn't hang out with any one of those people. But it's just like, man, I got to have respect for that. I mean, I love America like that. Like the ugly part of America. The Walmart part. The part that nobody loves, I love.
the Walmart.
I mean, we all really deep down enjoy Walmart
Oh,
at some point for
if
some
you're going to
reason.
be honest with yourself, you can answer that question. If you're not looking to be honest with yourself, you know, that's just, you have to stay away from those kind of people. You know, you don't shop. If you can't admit that going to Walmart is a good thing and it's very cost effective and efficient, you're not, you're not.
They're starting to lose it though.
Yeah, people. Oh, them and GMOs are gone. That kind of business and GMOs, I think, are gone. I think Amazon actually is about ready to head south.
Because Amazon's got that. They just bought Whole Foods. Yeah, so I don't think Amazon's in trouble.
Yeah, I
think
wonder how popular that.
Amazon is going to switch to their delivery system.
Right.
That's going to be the big thing,
Oh, so they'll be like a UPS,
basically.
but because they need to handle their own.
So like the center that's over there at the airport,
Yes.
if you have the Prime, and whatever you're ordering is there. You can get it delivered that day because they have like a Lyft or like a Uber style delivery system. Mm-hmm. So basically you have those people over there in just their regular cars.
Right.
Just sitting there waiting, order up, and then
they're paying per like yeah.
That's the only thing that they can do until they get their drone system set up.
Sure. Well, I was more or less thinking that, and I don't know, when I first got Amazon Prime and I was really excited about using it, it was really good for the convenience of like consumables. Super convenient.
Yeah.
Like especially like certain food items like we like we like to cook Wiener Schnitzel, and we like to get
I'm about to say we've never ordered food.
No, we
at
haven't.
all.
Yeah,
That's
so-
not what we use ours for. So
Yeah.
this is interesting.
So yeah, and but then like I started to look at it and I was like, wow, this they've got good prices on stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Especially there's always the things that you're going to get at the grocery store, right? There's always obviously Cheerios, even if you're not pregnant or don't even have like new kids, you just buy them, and all that stuff. There's certain things you buy, but like for instance, this particular brand of sweet relish, this German sweet relish, it's a German company. Obviously somebody's importing this stuff, and they're selling it on Amazon, and it's cheap. Like it was, I think you get a case of it for $12, $13, and it's like 6 or 7 of them. But I guess what I'm saying is it's really good for unique stuff like that. But as far as like just for everything, you're gonna like clothes are a pain. Returning stuff on Amazon is the only thing that's just like it almost doesn't happen. At
Right,
least for
because
me.
you already got the free shipping, and I hear it's a lot more just to ship it back if you didn't like what you got. I think aside
You're
of
better
finding
off to just-
clothes, maybe specialty clothes or something specific that you can't find where you live.
And they have 2 Amazon drop boxes in Charlotte, and they're in the worst places.
Are those the locker things?
Yeah, there's
I think
2
those
of
are
them.
so crazy.
I think there are only 2 of them though in Charlotte area that they actually that you can use your. So like every Amazon, I think you come with a return thing that's Amazon. It does everything to do with the. I think it'll connect to the. But I'm not really sure how it works. But I know that if you use that, you have to go to those facilities.
So what would you do? Like
Okay,
you put your card in
I don't know if that's
Amazon locker. It's just magical. I don't know.
it's
It looks like an ATM machine, so I assume the card that you used, and it tells you what locker you get, or just magically pops open because there's
it
no
probably
doors. Just goes ding.
What if you ordered doesn't fit in a locker?
Then you didn't get a locker
Then
pickup.
you fold it up and jam it up just like the postal service would do it.
So if I order a treadmill,
Then that drone's gonna just drop it off.
I send it back.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, she's just like walking down the subway or whatever, and there's the Amazon lockers.
Well, that's kind of like a marketing thing. We really need David here for this. But
He'd be all over that.
yeah.
He would give some real deep.
But I know
into that.
like when you go to Walmart and you buy something that's in like that really hard plastic,
Right.
one of the reasons why they do that is because they make it so hard to open that you basically destroy it
Oh, right.
to get it
The
open.
blister packs. Yeah.
Yeah, so then you're less likely to return it because you've destroyed it to get whatever you want out of it.
Not to protect the item that's actually encased in it.
Exactly. They say that's one of the marketing things.
That's probably
They do.
true. I looked and said, is that associate going to take back these headphones that don't work anymore? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's something about if it's so many processes to be able to return,
Right.
people just give up.
Sure.
People
But
just
Walmart
say,
takes back everything. FYI.
Yeah.
Back to this Amazon versus Walmart can really bring anything back there, and they're not going to tell you no.
Lowe's was good about returning some dead plants that I'd killed.
Really?
I'd killed 6 or 7 plants by using, I don't know. I have no business, spraying any chemicals. So I killed them. And my wife's like, oh, I'm not even, because I was the one that planted them and did the work. So she didn't care if I had to unplant them and go get more and replant them. She's like, oh, I can get those. They'll take those back. They take any plant back. I'm like, no, they don't. And they do. They have a policy. If you have your receipt and the carcass of the plant, they'll return them.
So is this like in your landscaping?
Yeah. It was some foxglove that just I put in the wrong spot, and then I put a little,
Because a trick you can do with your flowers that you plant in like your flower bed or whatever, bury the pot
Sure.
in a pot, and then you just pull the pot out
Right.
when that one's dead, and then you put the new pot, the whole pot, down into the ground,
I like it.
and then you just basically just exchange. You can do it,
He wasn't planning on killing said plants.
yeah, but you can do it per season.
Right.
So if you got like your spring flowers, your summer flowers, and your fall flowers,
of course we have that.
You just swap them out. Real nice, real easy.
Of course we
That's
have.
what these stores have to do, though, to maintain their customers going back to them,
Oh, yeah.
is to appease them.
Well,
I'm not saying customer is always right. They just have to appease them and make it right for the customer.
Is that
It's a
because of
completely
volume?
different statement, I think.
but that's just because of the amount of volume they do in retail business.
Well, especially
It
somewhere
doesn't
like
hurt 'em.
Lowe's. I mean, they don't have, I would say, a ton of competition. I mean,
Home Depot.
a ton. I mean, more than Home Depot. That's too far for me.
In my
At two
hometown,
Lowe's.
I don't know why it works, but there's Knee House. It's a family-owned hardware store.
Right.
They outdo Lowe's. They move more.
They've been there longer than Lowe's.
Yes, they
Ding,
have
ding,
been.
ding.
They
I
have
mean,
been.
and that's why I try to go down the street. What's it called? Brawley Market?
Mm-hmm.
No, Brawley, whatever's over there that sells plants.
Right.
Because it's been here probably a very long time, and it's right down the street. And
Is it the gray building? Or is that, it's just
like
it's
the
old,
brick.
Yeah.
Well, there's the new like blue building that has all like the power equipment.
Right.
yeah, right across
it's,
from there.
It's right next to it. So it's Brawley Yard.
Seed and
Right,
garden,
right.
Yeah,
garden and
yeah,
seed,
Brawley
maybe?
Seed and Garden.
But I was like, well,
Apparently, the
Should go
Brawley
see.
guy was a pretty big dude around here.
Right.
'Cause
Well,
every-
everything's named Brawley something.
Yeah, Brawley School, Brawley Road, Brawley School Road.
so instead of giving back to those big businesses, would rather
Yeah,
turn that around. And so I was
that's
like,
how we
I
are
need to-
with all of our stuff. Like
Right.
all the restaurants that we go
Right.
to, it's right here on Main Street.
Right.
We don't go to the big chains. We don't go to the Applebee's or the
Well,
Outback Steakhouse or anything like that.
and, obviously I'm a little bit different generation, but I mean, I think that's definitely a real trend. It's
Swinging back that way.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, I see these stories, especially like that Lake Norman magazine that goes around here. And seeing this husband and wife that have started a business or ventured, military or whatever it is for blank years, and this is where they want to settle, and then they're starting this, and it's like how you kind of get invested and you want to go see what it's about and pay it back into your community versus pretty sure Applebee's is doing fine
right.
But I think
without me.
I think the big, the main streets coming back in areas like here in Huntersville and Davidson and down in Charlotte, even you have the NoDOT area and all that stuff.
Right.
No one wants to drive anywhere because
Sure.
there's so much traffic.
Right.
So
Right.
why would we spend the extra hour drive just to go just 30 minutes across town and 30 minutes back?
Right.
If there was no traffic, it'd be a 5-minute drive, but because there's traffic, it takes forever.
Right.
So when we can just go 2 miles down the road to Epic
Right.
and have
Amazing service.
amazing service, way better food,
Right.
Way better atmosphere,
Right.
and really not spend that much more.
Is it crowded in there? I mean, every time I've ever been to that place, and I've only been there twice, and it was a while back. It was just,
We need to all go.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can. I definitely don't, we've learned the holidays, etc.
Sure.
But, you go. We're sitting here on a Tuesday night and I don't feel like cooking or whatnot. And we just want a steak dinner. We're going to go there and it's not
I'll
usually
have a steak
packed.
dinner.
Ooh, they do.
I'm not quite like Pruitt when it comes to meat, but I'm pretty close.
They do all theirs Pittsburgh style, which a lot of places don't do.
What's that?
It's super hot.
Oh
They
yeah.
char it,
Super,
like, on the
yeah,
outside, but it
super
still
hot,
has
super
that-
fast. A lot of places won't do it because a lot of places have burned down.
Yeah, it's a
doing
little
it.
dangerous in the kitchen. But
Like
So-
600, 7.
Oh, it's I don't know the exact temperatures to be quote the Pittsburgh style, but the steak that I get is the porterhouse. So you have the fillet on one side and the strip on the other. They'll actually cook it like to where this one is, because it's such a big steak, they'll stick this side in it to make sure this side's done properly, and then they'll spin it and then cook the other side.
Damn right they do.
Yeah, so it instead of just cooking it all at the same temperature, when you do that, you're going to overcook the fillet side.
Yeah.
So
I don't even like my filet cooked.
just
Dude, I could sit there
Sworn
and
on the
honestly,
outside?
no. I could raw dog that thing, no problem, if somebody would let me.
Give it a sunburn and send it out.
I wouldn't even, I wouldn't mind it being cold.
Little glisten.
Actually, you know what? I wonder what it'd be at 98 degrees. That could be our new thing. Ooh. We could start getting like real deal,
Oh,
go over there and be like, hey man, go right to the butcher. Let them hook you. It's like sushi. I got a buddy of mine that was a commercial fisherman, and they would catch tuna, and occasionally, they're out there for weeks. If they want to eat a big fat sushi, tuna, they're not scared of. And they said they would just.
We caught it.
Oh,
A big sashimi steak.
oh, that's what he said. He said they would just. He said they would get those things up and they would just hack them right over there and just cut big slabs out of it and sit there and eat it like it was a piece of watermelon. And he said it was just unbelievable.
And getting mercury poisoning like crazy.
I think these guys were getting methamphetamine poisoning out there. I don't think the mercury was going to be a bad
Hey
thing.
man, you got to stay up. Got to get the job done. Fish don't stop biting.
My wife went and picked him up. He had gotten off the boat after being there for 6 weeks, and she was pulling back. We lived a little bit away from downtown Beaufort, which is the coolest place in the world, and she passed. She's like, "Oh, that's my," I can't guess his name, but anyways, she picked him up, and he was just looked like he'd been up for 6 weeks. I was like, "Scott, are you all right?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm good." It's like fishing's rough. But sashimi steak, I'm telling you, I love that.
So
raw meat, as far as I would, you can't do it. Mm-hmm. But it's got to be good.
Oh, I can do rare on some things. I can do
I think he's saying like raw.
like raw.
Yeah, well, not
You
really.
can't
I
do
wonder.
it
I
being
wouldn't.
like, you can't go to the store and ask them just to
I
make
mean,
it like that.
Europeans do that. Europeans there's this guy from Latvia that we knew that he was an older man, and he'd be out there cooking like burgers and stuff. Everybody needed to reach over there and like just eat some ground beef, and I'd be like,
But see, ground's different because ground's exposed. If you're eating the back strap of a deer that you just killed, that's fine.
right.
But
I mean, I think honestly, if you don't have to cook meat much.
no, you're technically supposed to get it up so high, but even then,
But that's to kill so if you made it and you know how it's handled, we don't know how the rest of it's been handled.
That's
so
true.
that's why we try to kill what
yeah.
might have been contaminated.
Yeah, was it what the interior temp of 140 is medium rare?
I don't know.
I think.
Something like that, maybe a little less. But
Do you like deer meat?
I do.
I love it.
I'm learning to like it as one
It's different.
produces deer meat for the family to eat for dinner.
My favorite part.
I thought I was sitting with it sounded like something from Thanksgiving. He provideth for the family.
If he wants
like,
to.
awesome.
Basically, what it
make
is. I
lunch.
went hunting last year in Indiana, and I got a button buck.
Right.
And he was. I thought it was a doe.
Right.
Yeah. So it was a mistake. It was the last day that I was there, last evening that I was there. Had to take something.
Right.
And that's what I got. And brought back. We only got like 85 pounds of meat off of it.
Sure.
I mean, it wasn't very big. Got the
85 pounds. That's it.
got the inners and outers of the back straps. Kept the liver, the heart. Didn't keep the kidneys. I wanted to, but I didn't. And then got a
What
bunch
are you
of
going to do
steak.
with the kidneys? What are you going to do with all that? What do you do with those?
You can skin. I haven't done it yet, but you can skin the kidneys and then you cook them. The heart is actually my favorite part. Imagine the.
Did you just say that out loud?
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
So see, it's a big learning curve.
So-
He just started.
so you take the
hunting
heart.
again since being here.
So you take the heart.
I can eat it. I could eat it.
Okay, so
eat it.
how I fixed it, you take it and you slice it open, just kind of like a bell pepper.
Yeah, but I want to see the valve. I don't want to see an aorta.
You cut the valves off of it.
Okay. Yeah, so there's no valve. I don't want to see an aorta. I want to see any chambers.
No, you
If
don't.
we got some
you don't-
good heart meat.
Yes.
That's
It
what we're
was.
eating. I can
Yeah.
eat it.
So then you slice
I'd
it
tear it up.
kind of like a bell pepper, and then I sprinkle
See, did you hear him say bell pepper?
because it looks like a bell pepper.
You know what's funny? Then it means it's hollow. I can't eat it. It's got a chamber.
But it goes into strips. Okay.
I guess I missed that part.
It goes into strips.
Prepared it, so
Did
then
you
we could
eat
eat it.
It's very good.
Oh, I bet it's rich.
I baked it for like.
Does it got?
You bake
I
it for
wanna
like
say
10 minutes.
spongy. That's not really. The
It's like the
word.
tenderest steak you've ever had.
Now, did you drop this thing or did it run?
Dropped it, yeah. Oh yeah.
So it tasted way better dropped.
Oh yeah.
Than run.
Yeah, and it was a button buck, so it wasn't even a year old yet.
Oh, so it was good.
Yeah, it was thump and it was done. Yeah. Which I mean, that's what you're always aiming for. You're always aiming for that quick.
Well, if not,
kill with the bow.
you're getting the aluminum foil.
Yeah, you're getting because they'll get adrenaline in them, and then
Tastes
that
like metal. Does it taste like metal?
Yeah, pretty much.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We God, I'm gonna be a redneck. Squirrels and birds, they all have that. Because I mean, like every time we went squirrel hunting, I mean, that thing it wasn't moving at all. It wasn't. It was done from the get go. But now bird hunting, we would wing them, and we always thought that it was because they would flop around, or the dog. I mean, God, dude, you would go home and you'd go take your jacket off and there'd be 5 birds in there still. You're like, oh God, what a loser. You couldn't break. You get like you had to take care of their neck right out of the gate, and I wasn't very good at that.
So what kind of birds are you talking? Are you talking
Just
like
quail.
Quails?
Quail hunted growing up. This area was just infested with quail growing up.
Really?
Infested. And now there's none. I've occasionally run up on them here and there.
Yeah, I don't even think that. I don't remember the last time I've heard a quail here.
Right.
I mean, we got them out by us, but they're just so hard to hunt.
Right. And so, would you ever walk up on like a covey of them?
Oh yeah.
And they just, yeah. Okay, so y'all had quail. So you just didn't have dogs.
Me and my dad tried to get some dogs, but we weren't really the best at it. And
dogs.
The dog was just basically just someone else moving around to spook them up.
Right.
Kind of. And I think we only got in, 1 or 2 coveys.
Right.
Rabbits was
right,
our
okay.
Rabbits was
rabbits
our thing.
Big. And we were real young, but those old guys are serious about like their bird hunting dogs around here. They're like machines. Mm-hmm. They'd pop them out. They'd sit on the back of the deck. They'd be in a little metal container. They'd open that container up and they'd go walk right up to the edge of the bed and not move.
Yeah, there's some that would walk up point. There's some that would walk up and sit down. Mm-hmm. And then there's some that slowly start to creep up on them.
He tweeted that whistle one time, and the things went to work. And they start gridding off this huge field. And one of them stops. Nobody says a word. The other one comes from where he's at, goes the other path that the same dog was walking, didn't walk like directly to him. Was following the way the other dog did it. And they'll go up and then like double check. And then he'd be like, oh yeah, there's birds over there. So he'd walk up and over there.
It's so fun.
Little red things on their tail. Look, a little red, like a little flag. But they were Brittany Spaniels, so they had a bobtail. So their tails were cut off. And but it still had that little flag, but they wouldn't move. It was funny because they'd be moving and then bang,
and just stop and freeze, and then every once in a while you'll get that little whimper or that little whine where they just want to get after him so bad. They just want it so bad, but they'll actually grid off the tall grass or wherever you're hunting at, so the dog will actually move in like a grid, and they'll S through, searching for the birds or rabbits or whatever you're doing.
And like they're pre-programmed.
Yeah.
It's like that coon dog of mine being pre-programmed to want to eat anything furry. He was the sweetest dog in the world, and I didn't even know anything about coon dogs. I was like, oh, he's just sweet. And the first time a cat came around, it was like, okay.
Yeah, they don't.
Okay.
It's like a switch.
You just walked that cat down like it wasn't even running. I didn't realize the dog could run 65 miles an hour. And like run it down it looked like it was the funniest thing because we had like a 4-acre, just a pasture where horses and horse and donkey and stuff. Mm-hmm. And this cat takes off and it looked like something out of National Geographic. It was,
like a cheetah chasing after
my dog Gideon got him in the corner, just like you'd think he does. And then just lays there and doesn't move. And there's not a whole bunch of movement there. I was like, that can't be good for the old kitty cat.
Kitty. When was the last time you've been hunting?
Years. I would go. I could go. I could go hunting in the morning. You know, like if somebody's gonna. So I don't have it. I don't even have a real rifle, like a real hunting rifle at this point. They've got shotguns and stuff.
You ever try to shoot a bow?
Yeah, I suck at that too.
Why?
I don't have the patience for a bow.
You weld.
And well, you know what's funny is it's an art. You know, you're not just going to pick up a bow and start.
No, you're not. But you're the type of person that has that.
I've got it. I've got two bows. I got a recurve, and then I've got a Hoyt F1 Olympic recurve.
Really?
Yeah.
So you got the good bows.
I just don't. I'm not really like. I don't have a real hunting bow. I like to shoot the bow. I'm not good at it. My wife's better at it than I am.
Yeah, I'm way past due for an upgrade. I got a 2002 Matthews Icon. Mm-hmm. I mean, that thing's old. I mean,
are you allowed to have that anymore? Is that in hunting? Is that like anything? You know, just like, oh, you can't use that anymore.
Oh well, at the time,
Does things changed a lot?
Yeah, I mean now they weigh half as much as my bow does, and they shoot 100 feet per second faster, if not more.
Really?
Yeah. They got the full carbon. I mean, mine's still aluminum.
You know, I wonder if other countries know that about our country. You think about it, and then I've always said, hunting? No, or just the broadhead in general.
Oh,
okay. I don't think Europe and
archery's really big over in Europe because they can't have any guns.
Okay. Oh, so they got the Schwacker.
Yeah,
they got the Schwacker broadhead.
Yeah, all that archery stuff over there. Yeah, that's big time.
So, but like I said, if if like another country ever invaded our country, that would suck because somebody's getting shot with a damn bow.
It was that
and as soon as I could be in a firefight and like gunfight, maybe I think I could hang in there. But as soon as somebody gets shot with like a broadhead, like, oh, yeah, I'm good.
Like Rambo.
I'm good.
Game's changed.
I mean, think about it.
Well,
because those things are like they're scary to look at.
Yeah.
Like when you pick it, like if you pull it out of the package and you actually have it in your hand, you better pay attention.
Yeah, I got some right around the corner.
You better pay attention.
Yeah, just hanging out.
Hanging out everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You got I like if they're the arrow inside of arrows.
Yeah, those are the ones that I've Robin Hooded.
So fancy.
The thing that I hate is when I'm target shooting. I don't shoot at the same target because that happens.
Right.
So I try to get the one that has the 5 and try to shoot one at each one. But when you're really trying to dial it in, you basically have to shoot at the same one so you can see where you're grouping at.
Right.
And that happens and it gets expensive.
Sure.
So I mean it's completely stuck in the other one. Which those are carbon arrows.
Right.
They usually break.
Right.
But those are two that I've actually caught.
Right.
Perfectly. And they just happen to be the same distance. The bottom one there, I did that like the second week that I moved down here to North Carolina.
Really?
Yeah. I had my bow, didn't have any friends, just going out of the pit school. So I'd go over to Gander Mountain and shoot. And that happened.
Is that how you started the pit school?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool.
Yep.
What year was that?
October 2007.
Okay.
I started as a tire carrier because I hated the feel of a jack.
So you moved down here. Did you work somewhere?
Mm-mm.
So you came down here and I'm gonna learn to.
Yeah, I came down in July of 2007 with my mom and we toured the place.
Right.
And I said this is what I want to do. And then
that's crazy.
I lived at Willow Creek, right there by Lancasters. Mm-hmm. I got a furnished apartment, and I remember I walked in and set my stuff down, and it was like the living room, seen the kitchen, seen the bathroom. I'm like, kind of did a little walk around. I'm like, where's the bedroom? And I look over and I see this whole smooth wall with a rope sticking out of it.
Sweet.
And they had a Murphy bed.
That's awesome.
And the Murphy bed, I was too big for the Murphy bed, so I had to lay crossways.
Oh, that would suck.
Because if the way that the Murphy bed was, it had a wooden frame.
Right.
So it was like mattress frame. So that was like, if I was to lay on my back, my Achilles tendon would be resting right on that wood. So I had to lay.
Feel good.
Yeah. So I had to lay at an angle. And still to this day, like it took me a while to sleep straight in the bed because I was so used to sleeping at an angle.
I have a pillow flipping problem.
Because the cold side?
Yeah. Probably 20 times a night. It's awful.
I go from right to left because my shoulders, for whatever reason.
Yeah, I've got a bad right shoulder.
My shoulders fall asleep.
Oh, man, both of my... Yeah, that's because you're... Yeah. Mine are all way. Mine can fall asleep right here. Actually, if I hold my hand, if you hold your hands up to your head more than like 2 minutes and your hands go numb, that's a wrist issue.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And sometimes shoulder, like I get like tight underarm, which actually feels like it's up in here.
Well, that's your pec, and then your bicep tendon goes up underneath there.
Right. But I mean, I've taken, I've caught myself a million times.
Yeah.
I think that's what that's from.
Probably.
But it pops.
Yeah, nothing on me pops. But if I lay on one side, because I do the whole arm under head, and my shoulder will go asleep, and I have to move and then go the other way, and it's every half hour when I'm sleeping.
Something like that.
About every hour. I gotta flip over.
I want a new mattress. We've had the same mattress for, I'm thinking 13 years now.
We're wanting to get one of the purple mattresses.
Yeah,
have you seen those?
Hoping in the next few months.
I mean, the one that comes vacuum packed to your door?
That's the Casper.
Well, it still comes that way to
Does
your
it?
door. Mm-hmm.
So what's up with the purple? Is it because it's purple?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's...
So if it's
just
purple,
so
it's more comfortable?
So I don't know if you've seen the infomercial, but basically they set an egg down, and then they put the big plate glass on top of it, and it doesn't break the egg. Like the girl gets up and walks across it, and it doesn't break the egg.
Okay.
So it's only like 3 or 4 inches thick. It's not very thick.
It's 9.
All right.
9 inches thick? Okay,
I was just looking at the dimensions again between the king and the California king. Sorry, sizes. So that's why I know.
So what do you use like a pillow top?
It doesn't need a match spring, or a match spring. It doesn't need a box spring. It's just the mattress.
9 inches of heaven, apparently. I don't know.
I think the pillow top would almost...
It just needs a flat...
Would almost take away from what it's meant to do.
Correct. And it just... Yeah, no box spring. It just has to have a platform, flat surface. Supports your back like a firm mattress. Cradles hips and shoulders like a soft mattress. Best of both worlds, firm and soft. But I think they start as one of those... Or maybe that's the Casper one, like the Kickstarter.
I think purple was a Kickstarter.
But it's semi inexpensive. But I guess because they're doing it just on their own.
Right. Is Kickstarter? I'm going to be real ignorant here, but is Kickstarter like a website money raising?
Yeah, it's like a GoFundMe for a business or
how do they make their money,
or a patent or idea. I mean, you probably pay a certain percentage of...
Kickstarter or the people? Which one?
Know.
Okay. Well, I know I had a friend that... there's some of those fancy planners out there.
Right.
Well, she created like her own. She's into all this fitness stuff. So she was creating this meal plan, day-to-day life planner. So I guess when you have what you've put together and planned it out and you put it on there and people can like order one.
Right.
But you're not really ordering it until they've hit the order that they need. If they hit blank amount, then they will proceed with it.
Yes. Okay.
And then that's when you get charged because you put your credit card and stuff in, that you're kind of backing that situation.
That makes sense. I mean, I've always, I always have ideas, so I'm always like, how does that work?
Well, you put it together. I'm sure it's there. I've seen, and then for a little while, after I did that, and was supporting a friend, and they'll send you little emails about what's new in other people's projects. So if you, came across something like, I've been wanting that my whole life, and then you can say that you'll buy one when the time is right.
So you could do your channel marker 13.
Right.
So you put up your by X date and you want to get this amount of money by then.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's the same thing as a GoFundMe just for business. And there's been some cool shit that's...
Yeah.
Come off of that.
Like this bed, maybe. It says it's a hyper-elastic polymer that helps you sleep better. But it just looks like that. I don't know.
But it doesn't need a box spring, doesn't need a frame.
100-day or something guarantee if you don't like it.
Right.
But they'll just ship it right to your door. in a box.
We've yet to do it. That's our next big thing because we got a queen right now. We need a king because our 7-pound dog takes up about 5 feet.
I mean, last night I almost took a picture of him, the dog, and the space that was just my hand from the dog to the edge of the bed that I had. Like, I had to pull the pillow down and sleep on the bottom half of the bed last night because the two of them. We need a bigger bed.
There's a lot of things going to happen in my house. But that dog's out of my... No, I don't handle it. My wife, she likes the dog, in the bed. I don't like the dog in the bed.
She's just so cute. She puts her head on my pillow and we're sharing, and she just stretches out.
We tried the first night that we had her. We tried, and about 5 minutes into it, she started whining, and I said, "That's not going to happen."
Yeah. I was like, "She has to potty train, honey." Nope. Get her in the bed.
Sure enough, she's in the bed and right to sleep.
Yeah, I bet.
Well,
so now she'll yell at us when it's time to go to sleep.
Yeah, she'll go to the bedroom.
She comes out and looks at us. That little bark that she does. Mm-hmm. She'll walk into the bedroom, look in there.
It's like it's bedtime.
Look back at us
on the couch. Yeah, you'll see her kind of peeking around the corner, like,
and she's like, "Hey, it's time to go to bed."
All right, come on, guys. Let's knock it off. Let's go to bed.
But she'll lay.
Get a nice sleep.
She'll have like her back up against me.
I don't have to touch, but
and then like a paw on her, so she's touching both of us. Yeah. So she's
having separation anxiety.
Yeah, she's small.
A little bit.
That's coming.
And spoiled.
A little bit.
That's coming.
I mean,
that takes a little bit. That takes at least 6-8 months to.
Our first trip.
My wife has ruined every dog I've ever had. I had this one dog like before we met that was sweet, and she ruined it like within days. Our thing would sit there, and then this all it did is cry when we'd leave.
Aww.
It was awful.
Our first time away from her was when we went to San Diego. There 2 weeks ago, and she
leaving her overnight anywhere.
I mean, I guess she did okay. They said, right?
Did you say she barked? How is that? I hate that. I never have a good. Well, no. I mean, every time I take my dog to the kennel, that's always like, well, she was okay.
Oh, well, no, she just stayed with my
Every
grandparents.
one of my dogs are neurotic.
So she just wanted to be in their bed, and they didn't let her sleep there. But she just missed her mom and dad. Mm-hmm. She was okay. Just
God forbid, I hope she makes it.
I hope so.
Sounds
for the next trip, because he may tell me we'll never go on vacation again unless the dog can come.
Well, I keep saying that, but every place we want to go is like a 4 or 5 hour flight. So
I don't see how how people do that.
That could be your therapy dog. You need to get a little therapy.
No, we totally are going to do that. That's already in.
Man, the funniest.
It's like
thing
emotional
I've ever
therapy.
seen.
It's like a certain color, and I'm like, I need her to stay happy, and she'll go everywhere with me. But I don't see how you can have the dog for a 5 hour flight. Like, what am I?
Just act like you're losing it a couple times.
No, like physically have the dog on the plane for 5 hours. Like, what's the dog gonna?
What if she has to go potty?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you do there?
I think they got those little mats. I think they got those little mats inside their little box. The little carry on button. That dog's small.
Right, so she can carry on, but what if
carry on?
Yeah, she'd be small.
I think they have I
think she'd be
a little mat.
I think she'd be too scared. I don't think she'd want to go to the bathroom.
Performance anxiety.
Yeah, I don't think she'd be going anywhere because she'd be so overstimulated, just wanting to see everyone,
which would then stress me out if she's stressed out.
And then the dog's going to know that she's stressed out.
Nobody can.
Yeah, and like the person behind me is giving me the evil eye because we brought our dog and she made a little noise. And then...
That's when you really pour on the crazy act. Like they think, this lady just brought this dog. That's not a real therapy dog. And then you start doing some real weird stuff.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Perf. He's like,
start turning
you shouldn't have mixed the alcohol with your meds.
Yeah, that's right. Like,
and then we get kicked off the plane. This is all going down south real quick.
That's what you do. You go there and the first thing you do is you order a drink and get 2 of those in your system. And then the person starts giving you attitude and then realize... And then, Zach, you could look over and be like, did you give her alcohol?
As I'm playing with the puck.
And then next thing you know, you're turning the little air nozzles on and off as fast as you can, all 3 of them at the same time. and then ask the people 2 rows behind you to point theirs towards you, even though there's no way it'll ever, because they barely blow at you where you're at.
Oh yeah.
Much less 3 rows. And only, you get real weird.
Yeah, and then they'll land the plane and kick us off, and we'll never get to fly again. So, unfortunately, as fun as it would be...
Man, you must have to get wild on an airplane to get kicked off. And I'm not saying that I've been wild on an airplane, but there's a couple times where I don't remember getting on or off the airplane.
I feel like lately, though, they're just not
guess they
even...
don't play. I guess if
they
you get,
don't play.
Yeah, I guess you're not stumbling up onto
What was the last one? They said they overbooked it and told him to get off after he was already on, and then they just like drug him out.
Yeah,
that one guy or something. It's like, I was on the plane, I paid for the ticket, and I'm here. That is not my fault.
Yeah, the whole, and then they had that
the overbook. How do you overbook? And that's funny because the airplane
because it's all in it's all in their algorithm of trying to figure out because so
2% of the time these people cancel.
2%. Yep, there's going to be at least one person that's not going to show up, and it goes from there. And also, that's why they get so specific if you miss a connection. Mm-hmm. So, like, say if you fly...
Right, you mess them up.
Yeah. So, you automatically lose your return flight.
Sure.
Or if you miss your first flight and then you go to a later flight, you're automatically on the standby flight.
Right.
So, they have everything set up.
Sure.
There's people that's their job is to just do that.
Right.
Is to just figure that stuff out. But I mean, when we flew American, and it wasn't that bad.
Right.
No, we did not get a connecting flight.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
straight there.
You really can't, because I mean, you end up losing the whole day.
Right.
Because we flew out of here.
Y'all flew direct.
Yeah, we flew from Charlotte.
Right into San Diego.
Yeah, right in San Diego. We flew out of here 7:30. Landed out there at 9.
Their time, 9:30.
9:30 their time.
So we got a full day there, which was a nice start.
God, I bet you were whooped.
I mean, we were seeing a lot. I felt like we were ready.
Yeah, we were very surprised. Like, we did very good. Right. We got out of the airport and went straight to In-N-Out. Mm-hmm. We were one of the first ones in the door.
Man, hell of a vacation.
And then, that gave her first In-N-Out.
Okay.
So, and then we went straight to the boat and got on the boat and went out to...
Catalina?
Whale watching.
Oh, okay.
And didn't see any whales. No. Saw dolphins. Because the whales that we were supposed to see were the blue whales.
Sure.
And they don't come within like 10 miles of shore. Mm-hmm. So we had to go out 15 miles. Mm. And right before we get on this boat, this is the first time that I'd ever been out in the ocean.
Yeah.
I'd ever been offshore before.
Right.
And she starts going through, okay, and if anyone gets seasick or this, that, and I looked at her and I said, I don't know if I get seasick or not. Mm. So I'm like, well, we're about to find out. And I did pretty good. I was on the borderline because I get car sick. Right. So I thought I was doomed.
Right.
And I guess just years of being on the rivers back home. And knowing.
It's the same thing.
Just move with it.
Yeah.
And you move with it. And there was this one Indian guy. He
was really nice.
Yeah, he was the one that raised his hand. He's like, I get seasick.
She said, if you need, some motion sickness pills, we have some or something, or take them now or whatever. He raises his hand. And where do I find those pills? We're like, oh goodness. He was not prepared.
So he was good.
He already knew. That's what I told him. I was like, if you already knew that you were this is a 3-hour little cruise.
That's American right there.
But he was like, I had to push through. I was here. And we were like, okay.
But he was out on vacation by himself. He had just been out here.
Right.
Yeah, he had just went down the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Correct. Yeah. And
so he was seeing
doing a lot
everything.
of what we were doing, but he laid down on the bench for.
But he was doing fine. He was doing fine as we were going out. And we're going, front to back, front to back, front to back. And then we get out 15 miles, and then they turn, and they start heading up shore. And then the boat starts swaying the other way. Yeah. And we go side to side. And that's when he's like, I'm going to lay down. We're like, okay. And he laid down until the boat turned and started to head back. And then he was fine. And when you got that front to back motion was when he was okay.
But yeah, I wouldn't.
But it was like a switch. As soon as the boat turned, he was
right.
He was done.
We grew up on the lake there, and but we had friends of ours that would occasionally come down, like once we got into college and stuff, and they would get motion sickness because we go hang out on lake.
Yeah.
And it was weird because some people would get motion sickness on. It's not real rough on them, but I mean it can be. I mean,
it can be, but I think it's once you get away from land and seeing that fixed, that fixed thing.
Like
I think
Norman,
that's where
you
it
can
really
definitely see. You could jump off and go find somebody's house. Like, I don't know. I think part of that anxiety.
Yes,
of
you're
like,
yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm out in the middle of nowhere and we're rocking. Like, there's a whole lot of other factors. I think, and
it really didn't sink in for me until I asked one of the guides. I said, "How deep's the water right there?" And they're about, depending on where we are, it's anywhere from 600 to 800 feet.
And it's like fog. You can't see the shoreline at all because it was foggy, misty. And we were out there on this little boat.
And then we went out even further,
people.
and it was 12 to 1500.
They're kind of
dropped and dropped and then dropped again. And
levels.
Right.
When we got all the way out, it was like 2,500 feet.
Wow.
I mean, no.
That's a mile, isn't it?
A mile.
Yeah, just where we were at the mile bridge. Remember?
Grandfather.
It was like 24 something. 24,000 or 100. Sorry.
Yeah, because 1320 is a quarter of a mile.
Man, don't quit our day jobs.
There you have it. That's a long way.
I don't math.
No, I don't get into specifics in anything.
Anyways, yeah. But we didn't see any whales.
Speaking of, you go out there to San Diego and it is like a different world.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's like a different. Everybody's on a different. It's just strange. It's weird to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like it out there. We used to live in Poway, but
where'd you say? Where's that at?
It's right outside of San Diego. It's like a suburb of San Diego. It's sort of like northeast of San Diego.
Oh.
It's like not too far from La Jolla.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like
we stayed in.
It's inland of La Jolla.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And but I always liked it. But it was like California, just like my buddy who lives out there said it best. Everybody's friends with some superstar. Like everybody.
It's just like it is here.
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
but,
some guy at
I don't think I could live there.
the store
I really
wanted
don't think
to
I
tell
could
me
live
who
there.
his neighbor was, and I was like, cool, only because he found out that you were in racing. So
How do you find out that?
Okay.
him and his wife or girlfriend, and then they were talking about their trip.
There's a lot
And I
of.
said, "Oh, we just got a trip because it was like a him and her trip to DC." I said, "Yeah, my husband and I just got to do that." And he said, "Oh, yeah, something about vacations." And I was just like, "Yeah, we don't get a lot of them between my schedule, his racing schedule." And then he was like, "Oh, my neighbor is so and so," and I was like, "Cool."
Yeah.
Well, people have to understand, when you're not busy in the winter, I'm the busiest, so it was just like, okay.
Right. Yeah, they're always sort of, it's everybody's
Cool.
somebody, I guess, is the feeling I get, to where, I don't know. I'm just not I like California.
Yeah, I loved it out there.
There was so
The
much
weather-
to do.
I don't know if I could.
The weather was beautiful. It was low of 68, high of 73.
Right.
So like 5 degrees.
Oh yeah. Then that's like year round almost.
Yeah, stupid. I mean, unless you drove inland. I mean, when we went into the wine country, it got hot.
Yeah.
But at that point, you're starting to get into desert.
Right.
So, and there's no bugs really.
Right.
No, I mean the ground moves, but other than that,
Right. Other than the ground swelling up,
and the hill's going to catch on fire if it lightnings,
right?
Or if someone flicks a cigarette.
You know what scares me more than anything about California? Water, like fresh drinking water.
Oh,
like that's a real issue there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't realize that like the Hoover Dam hadn't been filled in years. Mm-hmm. Which is like in years,
Yeah.
like to the point to where the rock is totally a different color now to where it used to be.
Yeah,
where it is now.
Yeah, Lake Mead. There's that white ring around
right.
it, and I think it's been 6 years since the last time I was out there that white ring wasn't there. But they're letting a lot of water through.
Sure, yeah, making power.
So that was cool. On all the West Coast stuff, we always fly out the day before, and we went out to the Hoover Dam. Me, my rear tire changer, my rear tire carrier, Ethan. He was on the podcast. He was a diabetic.
Right.
We went and did the whole tour of that place, and that was really fun. I mean, it's in the middle of the desert. There ain't nothing around. and it's just this big slab of concrete. It's tall.
I couldn't believe how big it was.
It's big.
I wanted to go over the bridge that's over. They were building that bridge that goes, the new bridge that goes over the whole thing now.
Was it Boulder Bridge or something like that?
Right, it's way up there.
Yeah, it's up.
Yeah, and it's funny because that thing was like this. I don't know if they, it was obviously some sort of device that you like, not 3D printing by any means, but it was a concrete bridge. They were building it, as it went. It wasn't, it was like this, mechanism. Obviously had concrete pumps on it, and it would just sort of work its way across the thing. We stopped and looked at it. Actually, we didn't even notice it, or we didn't notice it. And one of the guys was like, "Hey, man, stop when you get over on the other side, so we can look at that." However, they're building this bridge, and it obviously wasn't normal, because of the situation, the bridge situation. I'm not big on bridges, so I instantly noticed this big scary bridge.
So what? You're afraid of going across
You're not
bridges?
the only one.
Oh, I hate it.
Really?
I hate it.
You're a stunt guy.
I know. It's funny. We went up Beach Mountain Saturday and we rode on the chairlift, and everybody else is just like leaning back, and I'm like, my wife's like, and you're the one that's like terrified of heights. I was like, well, this doesn't bug me. I'm used to it, but like on a bridge, I'm not big on bridges.
So what's the bridge up at Grandfather Mountain?
Mile High?
Yeah, I've never been across it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you were probably there when it was wooden.
Oh yeah, I would never go across that thing.
I mean, now it's metal.
Right, and I went to school like 15 minutes down the road.
Oh yeah,
and everybody used to hang out.
So
I'm not gonna go.
Hey.
I'm not gonna
Banner
go.
Elk,
I'm
right?
good. Yeah, Banner Elk's a great town.
it's a great name. I love that. I love the name. I love the name
Just
Banner
the
Elk.
town.
Just to say Banner Elk, I love it.
Yeah, that's why I got that tag on the front of my truck. It's like the municipal Banner Elk tag. It's actually not on my. I haven't put it on my new bumper, but I got a municipal tag.
Yeah,
It's just Banner Elk. And everybody always will say that's in the parking lot. Somebody will say, if I'm walking up in my car, I'm like, I know what they're going to say. They're going to say something like that. Hey, are you from Banner Elk? I was like, no, I lived up there. Oh, I love Banner Elk. It was a cool town.
we've actually never even been into it, have we?
No, I think when we were in the mountains last year, we were looking at the map and we had this conversation about
Because the big thing that we really got worried about, we went up the mountain, and as we were going up the mountain, my gas light turned on.
Oh, yeah. And you're in trouble. Where'd you get gas?
Exactly. So we started our little audio tour at Grandfather Mountain, had the CD in, trying to be like, yay,
Yeah, so we're sitting there, and they're like, yeah, and if you see here, these are these flowers that only grow at this elevation or whatever, and all of a sudden, bing!
I
And I look down, and I'm
gas.
like, I forgot to get gas because we were going down the Blue Ridge Parkway. I'm downshifting, blah blah blah,
Right.
Take pictures,
and then like,
having a good old time.
There it is. We slam on the brakes and turn right, and pay, and we start going up the hill, and sure enough,
Because you're 15 minutes from a gas station there.
yeah.
Every bit of it.
As we pull out, we stop at the little.
Were you
little
rolling
hut.
into the gas station?
I was in neutral all the way down.
Okay, yeah,
idling.
that's right. Did you go down the curvy part?
Yeah.
So you could neutral if you were 90% of the way it was downhill.
Yeah, I neutraled all the way back down, and the guy at the booth said where the closest one was, and we went that way, and that was our big
God.
focus. It was about to be a bad day.
To ruin our
it's-
fun family
right,
day. We were
right.
just going to be stranded. No gas.
Nice thing about that up there, somebody had stopped in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
This is true, but
I mean, that's one thing. It's
the embarrassment of driving up a mountain.
the cool
with
thing
none.
about Lee's McRae in Banner Elk is the bombardier or pilot for the first atomic bomb went to school there. That's like their claim to fame. Gary Powers, I think,
Yeah.
went to school there, and he was the guy
That's
the
crazy.
bombardier or the pilot for the Enola Gay.
Wow.
And I think he's from Troutman or Mount Ulla or right around here, which is crazy.
So, okay.
Could you imagine being a
kind
guy?
of, okay, so to kind of put this in perspective, North Carolina was first in flight.
Right.
Okay. From the time someone flew to the time someone dropped an atomic bomb out of a plane was less than 50 years. And and the guy that was flying that plane, as you say, was from North Carolina. So it's like 45, 46 years from the time man first flew to someone dropping an atomic bomb out of it.
That's crazy.
It was less than 50 years.
That's crazy. Well, I'll put it this way. What is the name of the curve, the technology curve? There's a name for the actual curve that it's making, and you have to actually keep up to that curve.
Yeah, it's someone's name. Forget what it.
Anyways.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what it was. I want to say I watched a YouTube video, but basically it was saying, look where we're going to be in 20 years.
Yeah.
Dude, 20 years down the road looks scary.
Yeah, I mean...
like 20 years down the road, like...
10 years ago, we didn't have iPhones.
Right. And now look at us.
Yeah. Now I'm on my iPhone 7.
Right.
S.
Right.
Plus,
S.
which has more computing power than this laptop right here.
Right.
You know, we could do this podcast off of that phone.
Right.
But it's just easier with the interface and stuff. It's just easier just to record it off of this. You know, I could do this right off my phone.
Right. Technology is, I mean, I like it. But you know, it's funny. I also am the same guy that was like, okay, I can move to Montana out in the middle of nowhere and never talk to anybody again.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
You know, the only reason I could do that to my kids. But my wife and I, that was sort of our plan from the get-go. That was what was really weird about like how life turns. Like I was like, okay, we're going to get married. We're going to move to Montana. We're going to go snowboarding. That's what you and I are going to do. We're not going to have any kids. And that's it. And I got into racing. Now all my friends are living there and living everywhere.
Yeah.
And it sucks, you know, looking at do you ever go see your friends? Mm-hmm. All my friends are like really cool. Or like when you're looking at them, you're like, dude, you got no money. Their truck's broken down, but they're in Aspen, you know?
Yeah, I don't have any friends like that.
Well, not like, you know, I mean, they didn't go normal route at all in life. Most of my friends didn't.
Have you ever been up there for the X Games?
Mm-mm. I've never
you
seen
seem
the
like the prime candidate to be up there for that.
That was before. Like I remember when the first X Games. Like I'd already pretty much was done skateboarding by the time X Games started.
They're trying to get it here. The summer X Games. They're trying to get it over the Speedway.
Right. Mm-hmm. That'd be cool.
I don't know if that's official or not, but I know that we were in the bidding for it. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that would be. That'd be great. It'd be a great venue for. Charlotte would pack that place.
X Games here.
Yeah,
something like that. That's got Zack Hayes written all over it.
It'd be fun. I'd love to go. I just never have had the opportunity.
Does your son?
The coolest thing I've ever done was go to Lollapalooza, the original one. Yeah,
what was that?
Was like? Awesome. It was the real deal.
We're out.
Oh, we didn't get it.
Fell short.
That sucks.
What?
She said that we didn't get it.
Oh,
that sucks.
X Games suck. I never want to see one of those.
I think, but that means that we'll eventually get one.
Yeah. You know, supposedly the whole Whitewater Center thing is all about the Olympics.
Yeah.
Did you ever?
I've never been down there. I've driven past it before.
So when you go to drive into the main entrance, you're like, you drive a mile from the main road and you go, looks like a development's going to be built, roundabout. Looks like a development's going to be built, roundabout. And there's all the way there's, 2 roundabouts and then basically roads that go offside that just end. Mm-hmm. And then you pull up to the Whitewater Center and it's unbelievably elaborate. And supposedly that's where they would build the like hostels and stuff, or the apartments and all that stuff for the athletes and media and all that stuff. Yeah.
So they're getting ready for it.
I guess.
That'd be cool. We need to go sometime. We were planning on going.
Love it.
We were planning on going this summer, but then
it's a bunch of healthy, pretty people.
I got hurt, so
it really is. It makes you want to be healthy. When you go down there and you see everybody, you're like, wow, man.
That's the one thing about San Diego. Like, it looked like they were running a 5K or having, like, a bike race on the weekend out there.
All day.
And it wasn't... There was so many people. It looked like a full-blown 5K.
Everybody's running.
Because everyone was running.
Right.
But no one had numbers on. Right, they were just...
The road. Up and down the road.
There's so many people out there. It's like, gosh, I mean... if any place makes you not feel motivated or
Right.
like a fat shit, it's
Right.
that place.
Right.
Because everyone's staying fit, doing different things. Even just when we were walking through Torrey Pines, and we're walking around looking at everything, and then all of a sudden you hear, excuse me, and there's someone like just sprinting up and down the
Right.
hills in Torrey Pines.
Really?
Yeah. Just working out.
Right.
We're here like, oh, wow, like, oh, look at the ocean. They not a care in the world.
Right.
Sprinting up the hills and doing their workout there.
Man.
I mean, it's a hell of a place to work out. It's a hell of a view.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, the whole area, the whole area. Really, I mean, really, that's one nice thing about like the California. Pretty much once you hit the coast. I mean, the only thing better, you have to go to Hawaii to one up
You
that
look
place.
to your left, ocean, and you look to your right,
Mountains.
cliffs,
Straight up.
mountains. I mean,
Love it.
just completely different than what I'm used to on the East Coast. So definitely beautiful.
But even the hills in like Temecula, that's what our hills would look like if they didn't have trees.
Right.
So
But yeah, that's still that dry, rocky terrain. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful in its own right.
You can get eaten by a mountain lion in California.
I believe
they're
that.
bad out there.
Yeah, they got a problem with them.
They're real bad out there. I don't think they're allowed to hunt them out there.
Sure. Of course you're not.
I don't think you're allowed to, and they're everywhere.
California.
We've seen a mountain lion in the Appalachian Mountains. So me, Al Allen, and Sean Allen, who, Al works at the race shop and does all the body hanging, his younger brother who's a body hanger. And we'd been up there for about a week. We'd taken our vacation. We all stayed up on mountain land. And him and his son, Al's son, was walking ahead of us and up above us on this ridge line. And we saw him walking. And we're like, we look behind him by 200 yards. I'm talking about all the way down the ridge. They're up the hill on the ridge. We're looking all the way down the hill on the ridge. And every time they walk, we thought we could see something. But you really couldn't. And even with binoculars.
So they were getting
Stalked
paced
by this thing. And so listen to this. So we see it. As soon as Sean's like, hey, Al, he yells up the mountain. That thing's like, and then you could see it. It's plain as day. It's almost like, not to say that I didn't notice it until he said something and it actually jumped up and
moved
like
around.
looked, and it turned and went down the hill, which was not really towards us, but where we were going, where we had to go back to. So it jumped like 2 or 3 times all the way down the bank, which probably was 100 yards.
And it was gone.
But it was steep. So I couldn't even believe it was actually jumping down into the gully. Like I was like, the first time it jumped, I was like, oh, it's gonna fall. It's gonna take the whip. Mm-hmm. But the second one was even bigger, and I was like, oh, this is a house cat, but it weighs 180 pounds. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
That is the only difference.
Yeah.
That thing would toy with you.
They're monsters.
As it rips your arm off, it would toy with the rest of you, and you'd be feeling like that mouse.
Yeah,
God, that would suck.
when we were at the zoo seeing those tigers
Right.
and the lions out there, like there was one where the tiger was pacing the window.
Right.
So I like knelt down and like got to where
And you got
I could like look at
animal
it,
with him.
to where I could like look in its eyes, and I mean its eyeball was like
When he locked
that big
on to
around.
you, was it like he was locking into your soul?
Just so like they look at you differently.
Yeah, they're looking at your soul.
Like when a deer looks at you, the deer's like, oh
Yeah,
shit.
they're dumb. They're not looking at your soul.
Yeah, like the cat's looking
They
at
can't
you
eat
like,
you.
like, can I eat it?
Oh, they're measuring
What's
you right
that?
up.
What is that?
I could eat
Is
that.
it gonna run? Can I eat
He
it?
can't be fast.
Yeah,
He can't be fast.
2 legs. Got it all day.
That's truth. But we went to bed that night, and we had we sat by the fire.
So wait. What was their reaction when you told them? What was
They
behind?
didn't believe us, and then they said it was a bobcat. Okay, so then he was like, "Oh, okay," because they grew up in the mountains of New Jersey, so like they're not like picking on each other, like saying, "Hey, there's a," like the one brother was serious, another brother's like, "Ah, that's not what you saw," So sure enough, we go to sit down. We're sitting by the fire, and we've got there's a log cabin there, and we're sitting out there, and sure enough, we hear this just exactly what you think it would be. And when you're out in the woods and you've been out there all day, and you're already getting used to your surroundings, so everything's amplified, whether it be smell, sound. Once you're out there for a couple days like that, you really
you reset.
Yeah, and we're like scared, because this thing's like, but it was down the hill, so we were like, okay, at least we got time to at least maybe pull out some flashlights and guns and maybe take a look at this thing. So we're, everybody's sort of like getting up, moving, because everybody's been having a couple beers. I mean, it wasn't like we just jumped up, we're like, whoa. So we're getting up and realizing, okay, there's something big out there. And then obviously it's a cat of some sort, huge. We're still thinking it. And of course, as soon as it growled, Al's like, oh, I told y'all that was a bobcat. And I was like, that's not a bobcat. That's the biggest damn bobcat I've ever. I mean, the thing sounded big. Like you could hear that there was some meat to this thing's voice. Well, so there's 7 seconds between the two things I'm talking about. Then, like right beside us, and we couldn't see it, and we all had our flashlights out, and it's probably 30 yards into the woods.
Another one?
Okay, so now I never even thought of that. We just assumed it was the same one, and it just let out a big old...
Ruined his life.
It let out a huge and it was you could feel it loud. Like it was like a coach yelling at you, and we were just like... And we all got like full like flashlights. Every single one of us had our flashlights out. There's 6 of us there, and nobody can get an eye on this thing. And all we hear, when we're being dead silent, and we hear it just go. It sounded like it made 7 steps up and out of sight. It's like, okay, this thing obviously could walk you down.
Oh yeah.
And you would I'm talking about. Like you wouldn't, I don't think you would ever see this thing coming.
Well,
then I think about it every time. It's like now, after knowing that, I walked through the woods my whole, living up there. We never thought of that. It was like, okay, I walked up on a bear, no big deal. You might see a rattlesnake here and there, but dude, a mountain lion, it's like a Ferrari of killing.
Yeah,
a Ferrari of animal killing.
Yeah.
It is a monster.
It's a monster.
It's a monster,
and it's only a carnivore. It is a 100% monster.
Yeah, don't buy the vegan thing.
There was one it was the jaguars. Was it the South American jaguar, or was it the African jaguar? One of the two. But it wasn't as big as the tigers and the lions. It was maybe, I don't know, like maybe about the size of this desk,
right?
But just like streamlined, like about that long. And it was growling and it was mad. And it was in the cage, and just like I can't get deep
from
enough.
The inside.
It's just all in its belly. And so,
we all went
whoop. And it's in a cage behind this thing. It's not looking at me. You try to get their attention, they don't look at you. And it's just the sound that it was making. It's just like makes the hair on the back of your head stand up.
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
I'm telling you what. Like I say. After seeing, you'd always heard of people. I'd heard some of my friends had said they'd seen, I worked at an outdoor store, up there for years, and so people would always come in and say it, but you just never, you just never believed it. I don't think it's because you didn't want to. We stayed out there so much that we're like, oh, that's not going to happen.
There's been quote sightings of panthers, and there's been.
But y'all have that up in Indiana, didn't you? Like panther sightings and stuff.
Yeah, like the black cats and and the mountain lions, stuff like that. You see like videos of them every once in a while. Bobcats are really starting to make the comeback up by me. They're starting to be like my buddy in his hunting property. I think he's got 6 different ones on camera, and those they don't really mess with you unless you're turkey hunting.
Right. I've heard that.
Because you're sitting there,
yep.
and then they sneak up behind you and just tear your ass up.
God, that would be a sad day.
So I've seen one once.
Right. Now you can shoot those whenever. Right.
I think it. I don't know.
I thought in North Carolina you could just. lay waste to those things?
Well, because it's in the Predators, but I think it's because they're making the comeback. I don't. Yeah. I'll have to check on about the Indiana one.
Right.
But we were hunting down by the river, hunting deer.
Right.
And a group of turkeys went by, and maybe 30 seconds before the turkeys went by, there was a bobcat chasing after them, and it looked like the size of like a Labrador, almost. You know, just chasing after these and not making a sound. I mean, the turkeys were, and then all of a sudden, blonde thing.
That puts it in the. See, that puts it like for me. I'm scared of like spiders, snakes, and large cats that don't make any noise either. Because none of them make any noise. It's like ticks. Ticks don't make any noise. I don't like them.
Yeah, ticks will. That Lyme disease stuff.
Yeah,
they say that like a high percentage of people have Lyme disease and don't know it.
But you know, Lyme disease is government-built disease.
Yeah, it's Lyme, Connecticut.
Yeah,
was where it was from,
and it's on the and it's all came from that island off of the coast of Manhattan, where there's that island where they did like experimental biological.
There's that quarantine island, but I didn't think that's the same thing. I thought
I could be wrong.
I thought Lyme disease was Lyme, Connecticut.
Okay.
Or Lyme, Massachusetts.
Was it made?
It's named after the city where it was first came from.
Okay.
But they're finding like there's like they said like one tick is like 50 different pathogens in it, and it's all different. And like Lyme disease will show itself in a whole bunch of different ways.
Right.
And it's it's not on the West Coast yet, but it's everywhere out here.
Right.
And then we got that. Was that Blue Mountain?
Oh, a Rocky Mountain spotted fever.
Yeah, Rocky.
Didn't
your friend get that?
I had a friend with Lyme disease.
Oh,
I had a friend ours lost both his parents to it.
To the Rocky Mountains.
They say there's a Plum Island conspiracy.
No, that's Plum Island. That's the name.
And then there is saying that the Lyme disease, all of a sudden there was an outbreak, I think in the 70s, sorry. A group of children and adults in Lyme, Connecticut. All suffered the same puzzling and debilitating health issues. And they were all in that city. But that it's been around for thousands of years.
Oh.
Ticks and Lyme disease.
They haven't.
But they say that one
of a 5,000-year-old mummy indicated a presence of the bacteria which causes Lyme disease.
Yeah, and now they're trying to get a connection between Lyme disease and Morgellons.
What's Morgellons?
Morgellons is like you're sitting at a stoplight and you don't know what green means.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That type of stuff. Like it really nervous and brain systems.
Right.
It's really gnarly. But that Rocky Mountain spotted fever, like that makes you turn inside out, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know that's bad.
It's horrible stuff.
It's bad.
And it's real fast acting.
Right.
Now they got that tick disease that makes you allergic to red meat.
Really?
Yeah. It's the alpha galamine or whatever.
What if Pruitt got that? He would be dead in like 4 days.
He could transition straight into vegan pretty flawlessly.
You think so?
Yeah, he could.
His look would transition into vegan.
Would he survive is the question.
Oh yeah, if he's sitting there chowing down on a tofu burger, you'd be like,
could you see
I
him?
get it. He
would just go to straight donut diet.
He's not here to defend himself. You have to come.
He's gonna listen. He's okay.
That's right.
He's gonna listen. He's gonna have plenty of time to defend himself next week.
The donut diet.
The donut diet.
Excited about those donuts.
He likes donuts.
Yeah, he always.
And when they're out of donuts, just not having it.
He always sends me snaps
of.
He always sends me Snapchats going to different donut places.
Oh yeah, and coffee.
Yeah,
and he goes to the chic coffee places. Like,
but he's a hipster.
I don't think he's a hipster.
Hence the way he'll fit into.
He is, but he's not.
Right.
He's
a little too old to be a hipster, actually.
Yeah.
Right.
There's that.
Is he?
I don't know.
Really?
No,
maybe not
really.
Maybe that's the millennial.
Oh, well, I got friends of mine. I'm 45, and I got friends of mine that are hipsters big time. So
yeah, but he's kind of like a normal person.
Yeah, he's too
undercover as a hipster.
Right.
Like he's not.
It's like the tattoos all being covered up because for the longest time I didn't really notice because like his look doesn't
he's got
really
that big gnarly piece on his leg.
Yeah, but you really don't really think of,
Yeah, he
covered tattoos. And then
he come walking.
That's
up
how we
one
got to be
day.
friends.
He come walking up. Were you sitting outside with me? We were at the brake truck, and all the marketing people worked all the bankers' hours, so they showed up at 9, right when our first break was.
Right.
And we had the brake truck outside, and he comes walking up, and he's got the flannel shirt and the corduroy
Do you
pants.
remember that? That was the first time he wasn't in uniform.
And the shoe, the special shoes on. And I go, God damn, you're Pinterest as fuck right now.
Yeah, he is.
And he just dropped.
Yeah.
He's like, oh.
He did.
But he had the whole, the beard, the
Little
chest
leather
tattoo
shoes.
showing,
Yeah.
had the whole deal.
Yeah.
He's very well kept. He is very well
Oh
kept.
yeah. He likes lotions. He was, I was talking to him one time about, like tattoo, like how you keep them right, because they're, mine are a little bit older than his, and he's like, oh, you got to put lotion on them every night, I'm bad about that.
So am I.
I don't care. I'll go get them re-inked
Yeah.
like you should.
Yeah, I probably will have to get this one,
Right.
the big tribal down my side. I'm not quite done with it. I need to finish it. I need to fill it in. I'm kind of getting bored with it, I guess. What do you all got? How many pieces you got?
I've got one big one here on my this side of my chest, and then I've got a couple that pretty much take up the whole chest. But there's like one here, and then sort of like a nurse and an atomic bomb, and
Atomic bomb?
they're like just the bomb, the actual with the duck, like it's got duck work in it,
Oh,
like it's hollow bomb, but it almost looks like a pop, like the Astro pop off the. It's weird looking.
yeah.
But then I got
Show me.
I
Show me.
don't know.
Turn over here so I can see it.
Oh, I got a gas.
Oh, that's the rat fink, isn't it?
No, that Santa Cruz Slasher. That's like a skateboard logo.
But isn't that
Way
kind of along the
back.
line?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
where
the
it
rat
came
fink
from,
type
yeah.
stuff. Who was that artist that did that stuff?
Ed Roth.
Ed Roth. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
There's like Ed Roth, Von Dutch, and
Von Dutch. Who was a Nazi?
yeah, he thought he was. He wasn't. He was just a strange little kid.
I was always told that he was like a legit Nazi.
I think he was a racist, old, crazy man, which I don't know if he was necessarily Nazi. I know that when he was really young, like after World War II, he broke in and him and his dad like stole a 50 cal piece by piece and brought it back just to have it, off at an old, junkyard. Mm-hmm. And then he made his own like Nazi uniform and would walk up and down with this like full Nazi uniform when he was a little kid, like 8 or 9, and walk up and down his driveway and stuff. And his mom was like, but then she gave him a pocket knife and he carved this little casket. And when you'd open the casket, this little skeleton would sit up, this mechanical little device. And that was like one of the first things they were like, because in the book that I got, it's sort of amazing, that he was definitely a different dude right out of the gate.
Yeah, but you don't have that type of talent when it comes to you can't have it all. Mm-mm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're not going to be smooth. Yeah, there's like a flaw. There's always a flaw. His just happened to be he was an extreme racist, crazy man.
Yeah, but he could pinstripe and paint.
Did you ever hear how he started that? This is the coolest story. So his dad owned a motorcycle shop. And I don't know what the story was about why or how. I don't know if he got drunk and knocked the motorcycles over or what the story was, but he knocked over a couple of motorcycles on each other. And his dad also did some sign painting. And to cover up the scratch, he wanted to make it look cool. So when he set the bike up to do the pinstriping, the style of pin, or what he was going to do, he noticed. So you have a DA grinder, which is dual orbital. Mm-hmm. So it actually moves like this, so it's orbiting and rotating. Well, back then they didn't have that. They only had orbital grinders.
So they only wobbled?
No, they only rotated.
Oh, they only rotated?
So when they would sand these finishes down on those motorcycles, and they would sand them down, it would put those arcs, like an 8-inch sanding arc in it. You could see it down underneath the finish. I mean,
Isn't that like a finish of metal that they do that to?
Yeah. But I mean, even after they had put the clear coat on, you could still, if you got down and looked at it, you could have seen those 8-inch sort of cuts from. Well, when he would cover up the thing, he started noticing that those all intersected in all kinds of different directions. Those arcs, those big fat arcs, and if you look at pinstriping, especially like his style of pinstriping, it's all just arcs laid on top of each other. It's the same arc. It's always the same arc.
Huh.
And if you look at it, it really makes sense that, that's how he came up with it.
And then it makes it really
And that was his explanation of it. His own personal explanation of how he came up with it was just that in the book that I got, he talks about how he basically just saw the sanding marks that were sort of already there due to the sander, and he sort of just covered up the scratch you need to cover up, and then use the pattern that was already there. And it's funny because if you look at it, that's sort of what makes it look why it looks that way, because they're all on the same arc. And
then 50 years later, he became a trucker hat in a mall.
That's the saddest thing. Like, and what's funny is I was like one of the.
Did you have a Von Dutch hat? Sorry, did you have a Von Dutch hat?
Do I have to answer the question?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a yes.
But that's good.
Of course
that you
I had one.
There was nothing wrong with that, though.
Me and my roommate in college had to go get one.
God,
Right
they
there.
were. Was
We
it
had cute
neon
ones.
green?
Did you know?
No,
white?
it was like a powder blue and like a pink, like not pink, more
It's like
maroon.
$68.
Was it fuchsia? Yeah, it was pretty expensive.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was pretty excited. I loved it. I'm sure we could find a picture of it.
Did you
of
know
Lizzie and I.
anything about the conversation that we just had?
No, I just learned a lot.
Yeah. But
I can Google that later and read more about it.
the cool. There's another guy that's involved in all that really didn't get a whole bunch of news. Is a guy named Robert Williams, and what he was sort of everybody's friend. Like there was Ed Roth and there was Von Dutch, and there was George Barris that was a little bit before those guys that did the Batmobile and stuff.
Oh,
but he was a little bit before those guys, and these guys were like the young guns coming in the game. Like they were like their own thing, especially Ed Roth. Von Dutch was more of his own. They were buddies, but they were two different things. The whole I didn't realize Rat Fink came around due to Mickey Mouse. Ed Roth hated Mickey Mouse.
It was the counterculture stuff.
Yeah, and he drew it on a napkin originally. Somebody was
Cartoons and all that stuff.
But then the Robert Williams did all the fine artwork for Ed Roth Studios. So he was so Ed Roth wasn't the greatest actual fine artist. He could sketch out something or airbrush something and give you an idea, but this guy would take it to the next level. And it was it's weird that all those guys were friends. I think the coolest story was that one guy. Von Dutch stabbed that dude in the museum, like, and this would have been like 1990 something before he died, not too long before he died, because the guy told me he's from Chicago, and Ed Roth said, Von Dutch was like, I hate Chicago, and stabbed the guy.
Sounds about right.
Just
I think that's what happened to the whole Von Dutch movement is all that stuff. People started actually researching, like, whoa, wait a second.
I never thought about that.
Wait a second. Like, this isn't not what we think it is.
He said he never paid for postage. He would always draw the stamp. Think about that.
Crap.
And they've got in that book I'm gonna let you borrow the book because it's great. And it shows all these stamps, and he would add stuff to them. He would, they would be so elaborate that the people wouldn't even check.
Wow.
Because, they were like artistic stamps. They weren't just like a standard stamp. It was just like he would draw. So they thought, oh, this is obviously, postmarked.
Wow.
Yeah. Those guys are cool.
Yeah. It's just like, how you were talking about Robert Yates and Kenny Thompson being here. Right. It's that same.
Right. Yeah, that's right. The same era, too.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, that same era, same culture, same.
They're just doing a little bit different.
Yeah. But I think it's good that they were kind of in different areas because you wouldn't have heard about them.
Yeah.
Like who was Von Dutch's competition?
Right. Yeah. There was none.
None. Who was,
And those and it's funny because when you talk to Kenny Thompson, that I wouldn't say they knew each other, but they knew each other. Because one time, when the very first time I ever mentioned Von Dutch's name ever in front of that guy, I was like, so, have you ever heard of a guy named Von Dutch? And he was like, oh, yeah, the pinstriper, blah, blah. He's like, there's a guy in Hickory that has a car that's original Von Dutch paint job.
Wow.
And it's a guy up in Hickory that, in the 60s or something had a 50-something Merc, pinstriped and painted by Von Dutch, and, just one of those, just an old hot rod that never, and like Kenny's like, now this guy's got this, people won't pay big money for Von Dutch stuff, but you got a full paint job on a car, it doesn't matter what car it is.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing about artists. They don't really make money until they're dead.
Right.
Unfortunately. Because, what were you saying about your mom's place or your family's place? Was that Picasso?
Oh, no, Pierre Dora is his name. And he was an artist, during the, I'm going to say Spanish Civil War. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing that was like
a long time ago.
Right? Is that like I don't know, early 1900s?
Oh,
no. But anyways,
look it up real quick. I can.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I can edit it and make the time go away.
Right. But Pierre Dora artist.
Showing pictures that match.
How do you spell Pierre?
P-R-R-E. I think.
Oh, that was weird. I was looking down here and I was like, "Are you?" I thought you were standing right there. It's like, how did she sneak over there? I thought there was a bunch of wires and stuff. Oh, here we go. Yeah, see, here's this artist.
Oh, yeah, that is straight up Picasso stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what is that? Is that DMT?
I don't know there's something. Nobody will fess up
art.
to it. But nobody will fess up to that. There's got to be something more than that.
I mean, it's got to be mushrooms or something. I mean, you don't unlock to that.
Called Cubism.
Cubism?
That's a style of art.
Style of art?
So that means when you eat enough acid, you start seeing digitally.
Cubes. Correct.
Yikes.
I don't know if you can get that part. I don't know if that happens.
So now he was the artist in the Spanish Civil War, and moved over here to get away from it.
Yes, I think they actually, he was on the other side, so they had exile.
So he was on the bad side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I think on the losing side.
Okay.
I don't know how that works out. I don't know much about the history on that. I know that then he moved to the mountains of Virginia.
Okay.
Because it reminded him of home. And there's a museum in Richmond, I think, or Charlottesville, that's dedicated to his artwork. And, it's my dad them didn't know. They just started noticing all this weird stuff around the house. They're like, why did this guy paint these? Like my dad initially, I remember he called me. He's like, man, what's the best way to get paint off of sliding glass doors? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, man, on all these sliding glass doors, there's like these nativity scene paintings, and they ain't making any sense. It's like their faces are, and I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, oh, my mom who was an art major was like, yeah, your dad, this obviously there was an artist lived here of some sort.
Yeah, tell the story. Didn't they found the place and it was pretty run down, right?
Oh yeah, they found the place. It was totally run down, and my dad who was obviously a extreme racist Civil War supporter. No, my dad was just a Civil War historian, big time,
Mm-hmm.
like serious about it, like dead serious about like the Yankees and the Southerners. I mean, he really, really, really appreciated the whole thing,
The whole deal.
and so he wanted, as he was interested in that. So come to find out that this little piece of property outside Rockbridge Baths, where Rick Mast is from, down the street from Rockbridge Baths, was actual Rockbridge Baths, the actual where the hotel used to set, and this artist had bought it. Mm-hmm. And it was sort of overgrown. Like I say, when he bought it, it was, horrible. And And they started, like I said, they started digging into this thing. They didn't realize when they said this guy was an artist, they didn't realize he was a big, because, you think you'd never heard of him.
Yeah.
So but he's, he's like that second tier artist. Mm-hmm. He's not the Picasso, but they're, if you're over there speaking to art people, they're going to be more interested in you saying Pierre Dor than they would be you saying Picasso.
Oh, because that means,
yeah.
That
you know something
You know
about
what
art.
you're talking
Yes.
about.
Yeah, you're
So,
That's throwing out a big name.
And so I think that's where like artists like that actually get value. I never thought about that until, because I was like, some of these paintings are still worth good money. And it's like, nobody ever heard of this guy. How can that painting be worth, $1 million?
But it's because the people that know.
Yeah. And so
Who
they
he
can
is,
throw that. They
Picasso's
can
story
throw,
and moving it down.
Right.
Yeah, because didn't you say
From
he was like
apprenticeship
he was
to-
like one of the apprentices?
Yeah, he was friends with Picasso. So, and he took art lessons from Picasso's father, which Picasso, that's where Picasso learned from his father. So they both took, and it's funny because you can see it like, there's like sculpture of like this one, it's called Jump Mountain, and basically that's where these people supposedly used to commit suicide. Indians used to, when they would get sick or whatever.
Wow.
Up in Virginia, in this part of Virginia, there was this big cliff, and these people would jump off.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. You were just there.
Right, yeah. And but anyways, there's a sculpture of this, and it's made out of roofing tin and like maybe Bondo or something painted. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing how this guy took this old roof tin and manipulated it and bent it and tweaked it. And obviously he's not a fabricator, but obviously knew enough to do what he had to do. And it's amazing. I mean, it's the lady jumping off a cliff.
Oh wow!
It's hanging up inside there, along with a couple other, the Martha Dor, the lady that actually lived there last before it got run down. Just couldn't believe my parents restored the place like they did. I mean, like my dad then started digging up, and they're like, "Man, this well looks old. Like, why would this well be here?" It's like a well from the 1400s. Like that the man had brought over some, I don't know the story behind it. It's weird. Everywhere you go, it's just old stuff. And the guy was an artist, so it's a real quirky place. Mm-hmm. The whole place was cinder block. When my dad and them bought it, stucco now. But it was cinder block because the guy was terrified of fire. The artist was.
Ah.
So he wanted to be sure to build something that never
burnt
like
down.
my dad said, it never burnt down, and you could never actually heat it. Because I think they were
because it's
just like
so cold.
Yeah, they had they had the baseboard heat, so it's always clicking and popping. Mm-hmm. And it's like you couldn't get it hot enough.
Yeah, didn't you say that the baths it's got
lithium
in the water?
Yeah, high lithium content.
Just chill mode.
Like not even chill mode. Like I don't care mode. Like it's not like laid back. Like it's like I just don't care. Like numb.
Yeah, didn't you say it's manic
Yeah,
depressants?
I think that's what they use it for.
They give.
So everybody in the town's extremely laid back. I'll just put it that way. And then my dad used to say that all the time. He goes, "I know what's wrong with these damn people.
It's all the lithium.
They're all messed up on this lithium. They don't care about nothing.
Not stressful.
It's just not the nerves. Nerves aren't working."
But you said people used to go and just lay in it and just chill, right?
Yeah, the Indians were there first. That was who was using it before, and I guess that's how they found out. There was big Indian wars all up and down through there, and then Virginia Military Institute is up the street. 10 or 12 minutes, and they would all come down there and sit in the baths. And it was a hotel during the 20s, and eventually burned down. Where I think people would go be like a spa. Mm-hmm. Rich people would come down and sit in the baths, in the water. So, there's that Greenbrier Hotel, and there's another one up there too. There's a couple big hotels like that.
Greenbrier, that's where the president goes.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's up there in the mountains. It's not too far down the road. Hour and 30 minutes. I love Virginia.
Virginia's for lovers.
It is, but I think I've told you before, like how much history and things there are in this one state that I didn't know growing up there, like, and then didn't realize like that wasn't normal for all states and everybody. Right. Like when we moved to Mississippi, I was like, what do these people do for field trips? Or like what?
Yeah.
Like, it was just stuff that was in my backyard. Like we were walking in property that they were leveling out for a neighborhood and finding like stuff from the wars and things like that. It's just, that's what I knew.
Right.
And couldn't believe once I left there, like, oh, I was pretty fortunate. Just putting it out there. Like, it's such a beautiful state, and there's just so much there.
I like it. I like it because of, like you say, all the stuff. But like when we go up there, you start walking. You know, you when you travel throughout Virginia, especially that Shenandoah Valley, is so pretty. I mean, you know, it's
I lived up in Winchester, so that very top
it's beautiful
county of Virginia at the point. But then you can get to the beach, or you have them. I mean, same like North Carolina. It's just, and there's DC. You know, there's that aspect to it, and the history aspect. It's just everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, where I come from,
I'm George Washington, son.
I know, and I was just thinking today, I was like, we need to go to Williamsburg, and I loved going to Mount Vernon or Monticello, like.
Oh yeah, no,
just all those things that were normal.
Monticello is in Charlottesville, isn't it? And it was Thomas Jefferson's house.
Correct,
house.
and I think I like that one
right
more
on the
than
river.
Mount Vernon. And I was like, what are a weekend trip where we can go up
for
there?
all these, you got to feel sorry for Thomas Jefferson and all those people, because everybody get raked across their coals. Mm-hmm. You know, they're never gonna let up with this crowd.
No,
they're not.
Sort of sad.
Sort of gotta go now, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And like, but like where I'm from, Fort Sackville, and now they have the George Rogers Clark Memorial. That's just like one thing that would be, in Virginia. I think it's the largest, other than the Arch, it's the largest monument outside of. It's the largest marble or granite
obelisk. What is it?
Yeah, have her show you the picture. It's a giant round. I forget what it's called, but it's got a whole bunch of pillars. It's really pretty.
Are the snake mounds in Indiana?
Oh yeah. Southern Indiana is where the mound builders come from. You can stand on my mom's porch.
That's what you were showing me.
And look across the field and look at the Indian mound.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's the George Rogers Clark Memorial. I think it's huge. And then inside, it's got murals around the inside of depicting like the different stages of the battle that he did.
Right. Oh, that place is big.
Yeah, and then he's got the statue in the middle. We always go out there for the 4th of July.
Who's George Rogers? Should I know him?
George Rogers Clark is the guy who marched and sacked Fort Sackville.
Oh, okay.
So he was in the Virginia or West Virginia militia.
Right.
Got with the Kentucky guys and marched over there and took the place out. It's a real funny story how he did it. Like he did a lot of like faking out. They picked him off for a while with their snipers, and then basically they just beat their drums and flew their flags. And he said, "Hey, I got like 10,000 men over here, and we're gonna kill everybody if you don't give up." And they gave up.
Right.
So there wasn't the big battle.
Right.
There was something I was going to say. I was talking about
mounds.
The mounds. Yes, yeah. There's the mounds, and then now there's the quote quote crypto theory that those mounds were built by the North American giants. Have you?
I've heard that.
Yeah,
I've heard that. Well, they said they also said.
What?
God, see.
No, she's.
Hey, he's living a secret life.
I know.
Because you know what? I've heard this kind of talk before.
I
just want to let you know.
These things. I just don't know that I've heard that particular one.
I came out of the closet with my family when it came to being totally weird.
It was the fact that I just said the most far-fetched thing, and you're like, oh yeah, I know, totally. I know all about that.
Yeah.
And she
I'm just thinking of snake mounds. It's cool.
Yeah.
Right. Have you been to Snake Mounds? Mm-mm. Have you seen it?
No.
We need to go.
It's gnarly.
We need to go the next time we go back.
That's
it's
fine.
The whole thing's just like
it's the mound builder Indians. So basically,
yes, I totally history buff and
so basically what it comes down to is they were just building like a levee type thing, and then they buried different different things in it. But now there's that whole crypto thing that's saying that it was built by a giant race.
I like that better. It's way better.
Way more fun.
Yeah, way more fun. Sorry. Way more fun story.
What they did after Game of Thrones. What?
Yeah, because there's giants in Game of Thrones. Have you watch Game of Thrones?
No, I've never seen it. I haven't. I mean, you know what? I barely saw Titanic.
Well, do you have what? Do you have like?
Hey, we're towards me and my wife.
80 hours of your life.
Yeah, we up to that.
Yeah, we're trying to. This is what the deal is. we're trying to pick a show to
Game of
Do that.
Thrones.
It's
really,
what
Game of Thrones.
because he was not a show watcher.
No.
I liked my
Hold on.
shows.
Are you a show? Do you watch shows?
I don't really so much anymore, but I liked my crime shows, which he would have nothing to do with.
No.
I mean, I can see
She
him
knows how to
riding a
kill men and
bike.
get away with it, though.
Yeah, he's
Right.
pretty confident about my skills there. Just telling him I know how to defend myself, and if somebody came to kill me while he's away, that's all. Not the other way around. So I don't know. I'll watch or try to watch anything.
I like Twin Peaks is the last real thing I've ever watched, like the real one.
What's that?
I don't think.
I've never heard of that one.
Twin Peaks is a David Lynch story
Keep
about
going.
this basically a girl that got murdered. They don't know why she got murdered. They never could find the killer.
I
And
would
then
watch
the
that.
story
Yeah,
the
sounds
story
like right
around
up
it
her
is
alley.
but I mean it's like weird. Like there's this midget, all the characters in the movie
There's a
are
midget in
weird.
Game of Thrones.
He says it gets weird. There's a midget.
Well, no, I didn't really mean it. There's this little guy that dances. It's real. I'm
What
not
was it
saying
on?
midgets are weird.
I know. I just like how you're like.
it must have been like God, it must have been HBO or Showtime or something.
okay.
Because it was a little on the edge. It's the music is great. Like the whole the package. Like when I say the actual what you're gonna watch, it's cool. Like just the way the intro is, the characters go with the intro. I mean the whole thing. It's like
Done well.
it's special.
You're perfect for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I don't see.
I'm into it.
You should.
I'm into it.
It's a good show for both.
Y'all are like,
parties.
and I can see that I better watch it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Dude,
with it.
it's changed.
You just told me about
It's-
your
it's-
self-defense skills, and I
it's-
feel like
it's
if I
ruined.
get out of here,
It's
I need a
ruined.
broadsword.
It's ruined movies because the whole series is 80 hours.
Right.
So
Perfect for binge watching.
it's an 80-hour movie.
Yeah.
know?
I mean, it's perfect for binge watching because you just cannot.
They can
turn
get
it
so
off.
in depth. There's so much character development. The casting is perfect. It's unbelievable. The
I can't
casting.
pay attention. Yeah. I'm a shallow person.
I feel the same way whenever I'm starting a new series. I felt the same way about Game of Thrones.
That blonde-headed chick looks extra hot. That's all I got to say. That's what I'm thinking about when I think.
Extra.
She's so extra. Did your daughter say that? Dad,
Not
you're
yet.
so extra.
She's actually watched one episode. She watched.
Is that a term? Do you know the term extra?
Yes. People I work with use it frequently, so I like to
What are
throw
you guys
it
talking
in.
about?
Like just being
Just the term
extra.
extra. Don't be so extra.
It was so extra today. Like
Trigger.
just,
Don't be triggering me.
she did use that
Extra?
word the other day.
Triggered.
Yeah.
No extras being just extra.
Like
Oh gosh,
I'm a little
I haven't even heard this one. Extra.
yeah, I'm a little extra.
Extra,
guess.
extra.
I'm trying to think of what else is extra.
All things, if you make them extra.
Like
Overly.
Everything.
you said
Extra.
like you said rad on the last episode.
Yeah, I've been
And that's the
saying that
first
for a while.
that's the first time that I'd heard rad in a while.
Oh, really?
Robbie
That's
Gordon
like-
used to say bitchin' after
Oh
everything.
yeah, that's a California thing.
Yeah.
I think
Urban Dictionary. Over the top, excessive, dramatic behavior, way too much.
And that also
way
lit.
too much.
Way too much. I'm just being
That is so
super
extra.
extra today.
God,
I'll
that's
be sure to use it
painful.
in a sentence tomorrow
It
for
hurt
you.
and don't.
Love you.
I wish you could have
Hurts.
seen Pruitt's face the first time I looked at him and I said triggered and he hadn't heard it yet. Because I told him my daughter, he said, "What'd you say?" I said triggered. He was like, "You mean like," he knew what I meant. But yeah, he'll probably deny that. He said,
Yeah,
"No, I
Kaylin
knew
said
what that
triggered
meant."
about something else. I'm like, do you know what triggered means? She
It's
goes,
like I'm triggered.
no. I said, okay, then don't use it. Simple as that. Just
Right.
don't use it.
Yeah, because you're like, you mean excited or something, whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
what she was saying in her sentence.
Yeah,
and
it's
she was
not-
like,
it's
yeah.
not that.
And he was like, then use that word instead.
Same.
Same.
You saw Pruitt texted that on the Instagram today. You saw
I
him
did
put
that.
same.
I've done that.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Same.
Same.
But they're just words.
You know,
they're just normal
Yeah,
words.
but now
daughter-
it's just like
you're
only
just-
way to respond
yeah.
to
You're just
feeling
using
the
them in
same-
a different
I'm the same
context.
way.
What did my
Same.
daughter say that was really classic? What'd you say? I forgot.
It'll come.
Oh, I'll think of her in a second. Like, what'd you say? It was like same or
Fam,
no.
Lit.
It was
AF.
Lit AF.
you know lit is funny because like I came from a when we got lit we were smoking dope.
Yes.
That's
lit
what
means
that
you're
meant.
high.
Just
So the
fire.
first time I heard my daughter say that, she's like, "Oh, me and my friends are getting lit this weekend." I'm like,
Whoa. What's going on here? You're not.
"No, we're not."
Sit down
down.
on that couch right now, young lady.
And but everybody around was looking at me like, "What's your problem?" Like my wife and everybody was like, that didn't mean that. And then I said that. I actually said, "Well, when I was in high school, getting lit meant smoking dope." And then everybody looks at me like I'm. Oh,
So old.
can you believe he said that? No, these are other adults. These are other adults looking at me, going, "Oh my God, he said marijuana." Can't believe he said that.
But
Awful.
But that's funny because you were the skateboarder out here before. You were kind of a pioneer down here because you brought the West Coast out here.
But I suck. One thing I can say about skateboarding is like I still like to ride. I can still get in the bowl and turn.
See, just like that, where that terminology that you used is just like me using racing terminology to her. Right. She's starting to figure out because you said ride.
Right.
To me, riding
I got
is riding a four wheeler,
right,
or a
right. Well,
or dirt bike.
we would refer to. It's funny because when I saw my buddy this weekend up at beach and they were mountain biking, his little girl, as cute as can be, she's like maybe 12 years old. She's a tiny little thing, and she was talking about sports, and she was like, "Dad, I ride these sports. I ride with you like year round." And she was referring to her snowboard and her mountain bike.
So
she
everything's
sees this as
riding.
riding.
Everything's riding.
And I think that's sort of how I look at everything. I always look at everything as riding. It's like even I can still I still ride through my neighborhood like on this downhill board I got, and
So you got like a longboard?
yeah, I've got a couple, but I've got one that's real sweet. One's just a Madrid Kraken, which is basically it's a
Sweet name.
I know, right? It's Formica. It's made out of like Formica, like countertop material. So it's got a real shiny bottom. It's all CNC cut, and but I mean, this thing's just like anything, if you dig down deep enough, there's some real performance. It's got real deal ceramic bearings. The wheels are $60 a set. It's like a Ferrari for skateboarding. Even when you look at it, you're like, oh, it's heavy. It's like 3/4 of an inch thick. And it still turns, but I mean, you can turn. So,
But you're not going to do like ollies and kickflips.
No, it's not that kind of. No, it doesn't even have a kicktail on it. It's flat.
Oh,
but it's got some
so this is the one that looks like a little surfboard.
Yeah, but a little bit longer.
But with wheels on it?
40. It's 36 inches. So, but it's you can like do cones, like run
gotcha.
cones, and I don't know. I just roll around.
So it's more like getting around.
Yes. It's transportation for sure.
Really?
It's like I'm sure like a real pro or somebody that really, really was good on it. They're doing whatever. As far as, but I'm limited. I can't run off of it anymore. Like I literally cannot run out of it anymore, so I have to fall, which sucks. Because I can still fall and get down without actually scraping myself, I
Big tree fall hard.
Yeah, I'll get my elbow right here, and then I got my shoulder gets this little ding in it. I can usually get up with those two at any speed. Mm-hmm. But then sometimes, you can't if you don't get your 1 foot down, then you're going down however, and that sucks. That's what my son's really trying to figure out. It's funny because he's just now getting into it, and it's like when he loses it, it's like everything's going everywhere.
It just explodes.
And I'm like, no, you gotta
learn how to fall.
You gotta save it to the very last second and then do this. Like you try to pull it out no matter what. It's like jumping a dirt bike. Mm-hmm. No matter what, never let go of the handlebars until you have to, and then figure it out from there. But we always had a ramp, so I mean, all I really, like there's a little skate pole in Concord that I can ride. Mm-hmm. Like 50-50 grind, like axle stalls, rock and rolls, nothing off of the.
What's a rock and roll?
No, I mean just like little lip tricks, like on the coping, around the top.
Oh, okay.
Nothing, no air. No, my wheels will not leave. I don't think I've ever really left the ground, honestly.
Yeah, there's a skate park right next to the police station here in town.
Right, yeah. They were supposed to,
It's pretty nice.
Well, Grind Line, a company, was supposed to come in there right before we sort of had the financial problem. Mm-hmm. And they had already, that's what that site was built for, was this, and it was unbelievable. It was going to be unbelievable. Full concrete.
Really? So it's going to be like a legit skate park?
Like, for real. And then they just...
It's the best place to put it, too.
That was the original plan for it.
And then it just never happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best place for it.
It's right there.
It's a good location. It's right next to the police
Yeah,
station.
you can take and drag them right up the street. I never understood that. I was like, God, man, what a setup. It's like with the biggest delinquents in the world.
Keeps them honest.
Yeah.
50 feet from the police station.
Yeah. I know that I think Tony Hawk has that big foundation that supports. I wonder if the town of Mooresville even knows about that. You go to that foundation and, because it's funny, you go all over the country and there's skate parks everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I put it this way, I was looking at Zionsville, Indiana, and they got the nicest little concrete skate park part of their
I think
elementary
my
school.
hometown, it was a park and it had tennis courts in it.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure if I remember right, it had tennis courts in it, and they converted the tennis courts into a skate park.
Sure.
Nothing went down. Everything was built up. So and it was nice. I mean, gave the kids something to go do.
But gosh, skateboarding, it's like I tried to tell my son, I'm like, hey, skateboarding's fun, but don't get any deeper than don't get into the skateboarder. Ride the skateboard. And that was always the hardest transition. Like when I worked in that snowboard shop, and all we did was snowboard and paddle kayaks and do outdoor stuff. That was sort of your identity, and it was really weird moving down here to where you didn't have that. It's like when we walked around Banner Elk, I mean, everybody sort of knew, usually because we were all together, or if we went to the bar, I mean, they're like, oh, okay, obviously those guys are the local snowboarders, that live here. But then you get down here, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
Like when I first moved down here, I was like, oh my God, it's almost like you didn't, hey, it's sort of shallow, the same thing, it's just like you didn't, nobody got it. Because there's so many people.
That's one thing I've never been snowboarding, and it's because we have Paoli Peaks.
Right.
Back where I'm from.
Right.
And they would always do the ski trips and the snowboarding trips, and someone would come back, something was broken.
Right.
So I was scared to death to go. I'm like, I'm going to be the one with a concussion.
Right.
Or and it was always horrible, like broken leg, dislocated hip, arm ripped out. Now, head on a rock.
Is it hard packed snow? Or could they get some fresh snow to stay around?
They make it can if it's cold, but they make their snow there.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, they got their snow machines there.
Right.
But if it was the snow, I mean, if it's January, it's going to stay.
Right. So they keep snow from Christmas on.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as this gets cold, they turn on that machine and
that's good. Okay,
blow it out. But it's not like fresh powder.
Well, it's all man made. That's like North Carolina mountains. People don't really. It's pretty much all man made.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, you may get some fresh snow in there mixed in, but pretty much what you're riding's all man made. And I always say, man, it's the best place to. If you get good on, man made snow. That's why I think that's why everybody was so good in Banner Elk, because snowboarding was new and everybody was pushing each other on that side of it, like just being new, and it's like who could take the top spot. But then.
Is it just me? But it seems like the man-made snow is a lot more coarse, so you could dig in more. Like the powder seems like it would be harder to turn, and it would give a little bit more.
Well, I think a lot has to do with the so you have your temperature of your air, and then you have the temperature, and then you have the temperature of your ground. So, like in Colorado, they're going to always keep a lot lower ground temperature, where in North Carolina. We don't have that, like a permafrost, I guess. So we get we get boilerplate ice. When we get ice, you don't just get like hard pack. Literally, I've seen it blue, where it's blue. But now we all learned how to ride on that, and so I liked it. Especially when we'd race, because anytime you'd race, it would already be watered down anyways. They wanted their race courses hard. So but then when you learned to ride on that, then you'd go out west or somewhere good. And it was weird because people were complaining, and and it's like, man, this sucks. It's all hard and the snow's horrible. And we get out there and we're just like, man, this is the best snow we've ever ridden. And everybody's looking at you like, and you're handling it well. Mm-hmm. So not only are you saying it, but then you're sort of backing it up too. So then the locals would instantly be like, okay.
So that's like being like a short track racer and then like going to Daytona.
Well, I'll put it this way, one of our best friends lived in Jackson Hole, and he was the first one that we knew that was out of the shop or out of Banner Elk that was like, all right, I'm moving to Jackson Hole. Mm-hmm. And he was already like, he wasn't even a backcountry skier, and you knew as soon as this guy got there that he was going to be a legend. Like, we knew when he left, it was like, people are going to know who this guy is. Because he was already a fitness hiker. Mm-hmm. And he was into hiking. Mm-hmm. Well, that's all backcountry snowboarding and backcountry skiing is. And this guy actually was a skier. But it's all fitness. It's like, how far can you hike to get as much riding? And
because now they just drop you off with a helicopter.
Right. And
Before you had to walk up there.
And this dude was in, obviously you're not dropping yourself up on the Targhee Pass with a helicopter. I mean, these dudes were hardcore mountaineers.
Yeah.
And so anyways, we go out and visit this guy, and a good friend of mine actually, who went with me. There was two good friends of mine. One of them actually ended up dying in an avalanche, man, in 2000. I think in year 2000, his name was Johnny Wishbone. He was just like super duper photographer. He worked for a company called Corbis, which is owned by like a Bill Gates and them. It's like the world's largest.
Oh, wow.
It's the world's largest photo collection. And it's under, somewhere in Utah under a mountain. Mm-hmm. And anyways, he basically just took images for this company. He lived in Jackson Hole. His job was like, all right, this is your subject for this month. This is your subject for next month. And then he would just shoot pictures.
Wow.
For this company. I don't even know I don't know what the deal was with it, but that's what he did. And so he ended up, going by himself, which is, the ultimate mistake in backcountry skiing at all. So anyways, he got covered up by avalanche. It was horrible. And, but we all went out to visit my friend who had just made out and all his local guys. This is like when, not to say extreme skiing, but like, man, this was at the height of the snowboard skier war or whatever you want to call it. Cause like, initially there was a big battle between the skiers and snowboarders. But anyways, we were going out to Jackson Hole, and it's like me and my two buddies. And then we're staying with this like a guy named Eddie Horney, who's sort of like, local legend from Banner Elk. And we get there, and all his buddies, you can tell they got all the new gear. They got all the, they're cool. Mm-hmm. You knew that was that. They were the deal. They were all sitting around holding court in this bar in the back corner. Looked like they're there every afternoon. And sure enough, we get there, and these guys are instantly just giving us attitude. Like, Eddie's like, hey man, these guys, we're going to take him to such and such tomorrow. And the guys are just like, whatever. You could tell it right out of the gate. And so we go, and pretty much all day long, just crush it all day long, and by the end of the day, they were like, oh, so what's up? What's in the water in Banner Elk? Because they were like, we didn't even believe Eddie was from there, because he told them they thought he made all this up.
Really?
They thought he was like, oh, this guy's from like Squaw Valley or somewhere. He's just lying. He's like, then all his buddies show up. Like, the one guy actually made us pull our ID out and show him that we were from North Carolina, because he didn't believe it. He's like, there is no way you guys are from tiny little hill in North Carolina. I'm like, yeah. But there's the only place selling snowboards. Like, the guy that I worked in the shop for did like $2 million worth of snowboards in like 1992. In just snowboards. Just boards. I'm not just actual boards.
Is that like sales or is that like rentals?
It's like sales.
Wow.
Not including a t-shirt, not including a sock or a goggle.
And he was the only shop there.
He was the only Burton. So Burton was exclusive back then. Like if you had the Burton, line.
Yeah, now it's pretty much mainstream.
Yeah, now you can get it online. But back then it was just exclusive to shops. So if you didn't get your snowboard in Banner Elk at Edge of the World, I don't know where you could even get one. Alpine Ski Center, they couldn't carry it because this guy already had it. So this guy
So
Greg
you had to
Barrow,
like go through the deal, be an authorized
Yeah.
dealer, and
He's got a killer shop up in Banff. It's called Edge of the World. It's still up there, and it's up in what's the name of that? Not Banff Springs. What's the name of that little town? Fernie, British Columbia. It's a beautiful little town.
oh wow,
Supposedly it's like the undercover hardcore skier mecca. Like all the real skiers, like big backcountry powder skiers. They live in Fernie or they visit Fernie a lot because it's undercover. It's not very, blown up like some huge mountains, and it's all backcountry skiing.
wow. I couldn't imagine a feeling like that, like climbing a mountain, all like getting up early in the morning.
Yeah, it's crazy
to climb this mountain through the snow just to get to the top, and then that feeling like made it. Take in the sights, and it's like, all right, and then now this is what
that's man.
the payoff going down the hill.
You want to hear one of the weirdest things ever that you don't really realize that you're going to see that is so like when we obviously there's no such thing as GoPros my buddy was like a professional photographer and I've got a handful of pictures that ended up. Now I'm sure on film there's rolls and rolls of photos or on slide because he always had slides. Actually, all of his stuff's on slides. But the first time I ever saw somebody like go snowboarding in deep powder from their point of view, I was like, that sucks. That's wrong. That ought to be illegal. It's like, that's like, personal. I was like, that's like watching some guy have sex with this old lady or something. That's just wrong. It's just wrong. Mm-hmm. They don't even know it. Mm-hmm. But and even my wife, she got it. Because she was like, when I told her, she was like, I was thinking she was like, oh, you're stupid. She's like, no, I get it. I was like, that's real. That most people had to pay for that. Like you said, the walking up the hill, that really sucks. And I'm not talking about a little bit suck. Yeah. When you're walking up to chest deep powder,
yeah,
and you're the second one in line,
and you're sweaty, and you're cold,
and you're trying to hit the other person's boot holes. So like the guy that would lead, my buddy Eddie, he would be on these like telemark skis where they're pins. So he would pull the pins out of the back of his boots, and then he would just look like cross country skis. And he had these skins that he would put on the bottom of the skis that like stuck on there. It was like lizard skin. It was directional, so he could just. But
so
snowboarders, if you didn't
like some traction, right?
And this is and this is before like snowboarders would carry snowshoes. You would just walk in that boot pack. But the problem with me is, I'm 200, or I was 245 pounds then. So my 130-pound buddy up front that's in front of me, I'm stepping in his boot hole. Well, my boot hole's going another to the bottom every time, depending on how dense the snow is, and it would suck. I remember thinking I want to die. I remember at one point, hiking, and I was so far behind everybody hiking up the hill just because I was struggling to get through the thing. I was thinking, and it was starting to get dark. I was like, man,
this is it.
This is going to suck because I'm going to die right here because I'm not going to, because they're not going to come back. I mean, they would have, but they're not going to come back and wait for you while they're up there hanging out with doing a little safety meeting up at the top of the hill. And of course I'm late, so, snowboarding's fun. I wish, that's what I did now. Because all my friends, they pretty much either work around it or work directly in it.
Well, why don't you jump back into it?
Oh, I don't know. Because I'm going to design a boat. We're going to go the boat route. Go the wave boat.
Getting pretty late.
Yeah.
I think we should go ahead and shut this thing down.
There you have it.
Thanks for coming and hanging out.
Oh, it was fun.
David's out there. Hopefully the hurricane's right about there right about now.
See, he's probably
old David. Yeah.
chilling.
Yeah. He's just hanging out. Saying, is that all you got? Bring it on. So, yeah.
He's probably out there soaking wet on the porch. Just,
Yeah, he'll be listening to this before he comes back, I'm sure.
Right.
He'll be out there on the beach listening to this. So, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at JackmanZack.
Instagram and Twitter, Miss Brit NC.
Instagram, Diovindis1.
And the channel marker 13.
Channel marker 13.
Channel marker 13.
Instagram.
All right. Young and Pruitt podcast. Get on youngandpruitt.com to follow all the news and stuff that we got going on. I keep trying to add more and more content to it. I just don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest. I'm just learning as I go along. So keep putting up more and more stuff as we go along. So thanks you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.